Hello, everyone, and welcome here to Stony Brook Field in Brewster, Massachusetts. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey for another edition of Harwich Mariners Baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We should be in for a good one today. Two of the hottest teams in the East here, Colin, set to do battle, and Harwich looking to make it a winning streak for the first time all season long. They have not had 3 losses in a row, have also not had 3 wins in a row, but are on the doorstep here this afternoon.
And they're also looking for some revenge in this one as about a week ago, exactly 1 week ago actually, 4th of July, right here at Stony Brook Field, Mariners fell 7-0. They only recorded 2 hits throughout the entire game. They were shut down by the Whitecaps pitching. Since then, the offense has kind of been on a tear the last few games, so you wonder if that was a bit of a wake-up call for Steve Englert's bunch. Now they're going to try to continue that going forward against a Brewster Whitecaps team that has had their number so far in 2021.
Absolutely. Has had their number, but really in a small sample size. Talking about that one game against the Whitecaps. Although I will say, certainly the worst game of baseball played by the Harwich Mariners here in 2021, and it would feel really good for them to jump back out and get out to a big lead here early on. Let's talk about the man on the bump here for the Brewster Whitecaps. It'll be Mason Barnett making the start. You talked about it before here, Colin. Really good pitching last time out here for the Whitecaps against this Mariners lineup. What does Barnett have on offer here to try to make it a repeat performance here at Stony Brook?
Well, Barnett out of Auburn is looking for some redemption of his own. 0-1 on the season, 3 starts, a 6.75 ERA over 10 2/3. He's given up 8 earned runs and 9 hits, walked 4 and struck out 12. So he's trying to bounce back a little bit, as is the Mariners lineup against Brewster. But after what we saw yesterday with the 7-5 victory against Chatham, they're as hot as they've been all season long.
Absolutely. So we'll see whether or not Harwich can try to cool them off and, again, get out to their first winning streak of the year. Your lineup looks like this for the Harwich Mariners. Leading things off, DH Tatum Levins. He'll be followed in the lineup by left fielder Prez Kavanaugh, third baseman Brock Wilkin, and first baseman Carter Putz, your cleanup man today. After that in the 5-hole, it'll be right fielder Jordan Beck, followed by center fielder Ben Malgiri, catcher Aaron McKeith, and shortstop Zach Preisner, and second baseman Hal Hughes, rounding out the Mariners lineup today. First pitch is a fastball that'll miss up and out. It's a 1-0 count here to start off Tatum Levins. And Colin, really quickly, before we get into the defense and some of the other superlatives here in the first inning, as the next pitch is on its way, and that one will be just across the plate for a strike here. This is a lineup that's really, you mentioned they've started to figure it out, but Harwich also starting to figure out what order these guys gel in. And I'd argue they would probably, at this point in the season, have 5 or 6 of those guys set, as the 1-1 is in there for a called strike to Levins.
Well, that's certainly the case with Tatum Levins, the leadoff hitter. I mean, he comes into today second on the team in average to Brock Wilkin, but he's still top 10 in the entire Cape League at 297. He's a guy that has been setting the table for the Mariners all season long.
Barnett sets and fires the 1-2. This one taken high in the air, drifting into foul territory. 3 players chasing it, a dive and a catch. And how about that? A web gem to start the day from Zach Neto. And Colin, we've seen some incredible defensive plays this season. That might be one of the best we've seen all year.
Yeah, I mean, Brewster, part of the reason they ended up winning that game 7-0 was not just because of the pitching, but they had outstanding defense as well. That's another example. A tough play just behind third, falling quickly, full extension slide, and Whitecaps continuing to play great defense against the Mariners in 2021.
And I think very notably, that ball would have been in fair territory. That's probably a 2-bagger if Levins legs it around first base. Instead, it's just out number 1, and that'll bring up Prez Kavanaugh. So Kavanaugh batting in the left-handed batter's box, pulls one down the first base line, but foul. And the count starts off 0-1. That'll give us an opportunity to take a look at the defense here for the Brewster Whitecaps. Byrne gets the start behind home plate. Simpson at first, Faltine at second. It's Neto who just made that incredible catch at short. Freeland at third. Your outfield looks like this. Brown in left, Jones in center, and Mac Bingham gets the start out in right. The 0-1 pitch on the way, swung on and missed. And Prez Kavanaugh falls behind here 0-2. And Colin, the defensive breaks, whether it was by incredible defensive plays or just really soft contact for the Mariners, it seemed like that really every single time it went against Harwich in their first meeting here at Stony Brook as the 0-2 pitch misses up and out.
Well, the big story in that one was actually Neto making some outstanding plays over at short throughout this game. Every single ball hit in his area he came up with, whether it was hard, soft, no matter what, his range is outstanding at that shortstop position for Brewster.
Had a chance to flex that, and so far flexing it again here through the first inning. The 1-2 pitch swung on and hit well, but right at the second baseman. Faltine picks it up, throws to first in time for the second out of the inning, and that's kind of another thing that we've seen here at Stony Brook Field, and this actually dates back to 2019, which is interesting because it was 2 very different teams, both for Harwich and for the Brewster Whitecaps, but we've seen a lot of very quick outings, I want to say. And again, it just the pitching style for this team for Brewster tends to be guys that want to have the ball put in play more often than trying to toy around with the hitter and go for strikeouts as Brock Wilken comes to the plate.
Yeah, exactly. They only struck out, I think, 5 batters against Harwich in that first meeting. So, kind of the right out of the his first pitch is in there for a ball. What I was trying to say was kind of out of the school of Greg Maddux, where he pitches it right over the plate, challenging hitters, getting them to generate weak contact, putting the ball in play, but allowing your defense to make those plays.
1-0 is a fastball that'll miss around the knees. That'll make the count 2-0 here on Brock Wilken. And yeah, you definitely do see that a lot out of Brewster. Saw a little bit of it more consistently here out of Harwich, especially through the first couple innings of that Chatham game yesterday. It seemed like everything was getting put into the field of play as the 2-0 is swung on and taken short. That's Neto's territory. He comes in on the run, throws to first. It'll stretch Simpson off the bag, but he keeps his toe attached, and that will be a 1-2-3 inning to start things off here for Mason Barnett. We'll step away when we come back. The Harwich Mariners in the field. We'll get a look at Eric Raiselman, set to make his first start for the Ems here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey. A quick 1-2-3 inning, and now Harwich looking for one of the same. And let's take a look at the man on the hill here for the Mariners. It will be Eric Raiselman, who had a phenomenal debut performance out of the bullpen. Was only expected to go a couple of innings, but he looked very sharp. 2 2/3, gave out 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. And that was enough to gain the trust of Coach Engler to have him here in the starting rotation. If he pitches well today, this is a name we could be seeing pretty consistently this season.
Yeah, no question about it. After seeing that strikeout pitch working for Raiselman, I don't think a lot of people expected that out of him in his first appearance, but he came in with so much confidence. Look for that to continue this time in a starting role with Harwich.
He'll have to go up against a Brewster Whitecaps lineup that has been very good offensively, especially over the last couple of days. We'll talk a little bit more about this streak that Brewster's riding on, but first, Raiselman, the right-hander, kicks and fires a fastball across for a strike here. And let's take a look at the Brewster Whitecaps lineup. Standing in right now, center fielder Spencer Jones. He'll be followed by DH Jake Thompson, shortstop Zach Neto, and first baseman Will Simpson in that DH spot. Second pitch will miss just inside, count even at 1-1. Hitting fifth, the third baseman Alex Freeland, followed by second baseman Trey Faltine, right fielder Mac Bingham, catcher Curtis Byrne, and rounding out the lineup for the Whitecaps is left fielder Porter Brown. The 1-1 pitch on the way, that'll miss up and out. And Spencer Jones has been having a pretty good season so far, Colin, but he is a towering presence, especially from field level here. Really a tall guy with an intimidating batting stance. He digs in, waiting the next pitch from Raiselman, who brings home the 2-1. That'll miss inside, and it goes to 3-1 here on the leadoff man for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, he's actually completing his first week on the Cape. He made his debut against Harwich in a pinch hitting role on the 4th of July, and 5 games in. Still trying to get the bat kind of going, but again, like you mentioned, intimidating presence.
Raiselman gets a strike across here, and a lot of confidence being placed in him, putting him here at the top of the order. But yeah, one of those late arrivals from the College World Series, and trying to settle into a bit of a rhythm here for a Whitecaps team that's had it going offensively. Raiselman's payoff pitch misses down and inside. He'll issue a walk here to the first batter he faces. Spencer Jones takes his bag, and that'll bring up Jake Thompson.
Yeah, good job making him work there by Jones. He's got a lot of ground to cover. It's a big zone, Raiselman just couldn't quite pinpoint those pitches on him, trying to stay away from the dangerous lefty, and ends up hurting him, drawing leadoff walk.
So that will bring up the aforementioned Jake Thompson as Raiselman looks to settle in here. And it's interesting because you talk a little bit about Raiselman and kind of how he got to the Cape. He was one of the later rivals here for Harwich, but he wasn't one of the College World Series guys, just a guy that came in a little bit later than most that started the season here with the M's. As the first pitch here is fouled back to the screen for strike one. And it's interesting because when we met him, he hadn't even been activated on the roster yet. We weren't 100% sure who he was, but had a chance to talk to him a little bit, and he has certainly impressed here with the Mariners in 2021, at least through his first appearance, as Harwich still trying to figure out who is going to settle in as their primary starters. That rotation, something that the Mariners are still working on. The 0-1, big lead at second, and they will throw down there. An interesting move as...
Sorry to cut you
no,
off
you're
there,
good.
Tyler. I'm not surprised based on what we've seen from Brewster this year. 34 stolen bases, way ahead of everyone else in the Cape League. Davis there took a couple of steps and then just stopped, and sure enough, McKeithen thought he was going, and it was a good bluff. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more tricks like that from the Whitecaps.
Yep, we've also seen, though, Aaron McKeithen has a cannon, so it could be best on best in that regard as Raiselman gets a big swing and a miss, and falling behind here is Thompson at 1 and 2. Let's go ahead and set the defense for the Harwich Mariners. Mentioned McKeithen gets the start behind the dish. Carter Putz over at first. Hal Hughes at second. Zach Preisner back in his usual spot at short. And Brock Wilkin, your starting third baseman today. Press Kavanaugh in left. Ben Malgeri in center. And Jordan Beck in right rounds out the defense here for the Harwich Mariners. Raiselman from the stretch. The 1-2 swing and a miss. He got him. Fastball up high. And that is out number one and strikeout number one here for Eric Raiselman.
Excellent bounce back after the leadoff walk. Wasn't afraid of Thompson in the slightest. Climbed the ladder on him on that fastball. Dared him to go up and try and hit it. And he was way behind that. So a huge out number one, especially with that threat to run always looming with the Whitecaps.
So that'll bring up Zach Neto, who was in the lineup. He had a 2 for 5 his last time against the Harwich Mariners. See if he can get something going here from the 3-hole with one away and a runner on first base. Raiselman settling into a groove here, working out of the stretch. Brings home the first pitch, and that will be in there for a called strike. A fastball just paints the outside part of the black here. Of course, Harwich in their gray pants, navy blue unis, red numerals trimmed in white. Brewster Whitecaps today opting for the typical home kit here. White pants, teal jerseys, white numerals trimmed in that navy blue. Raiselman sets, quick pick-off move over to first, not in time, and the count stays at 0-1 here as a quick check over to the runner. Colin really emphasizing here, trying to keep Spencer Jones close.
Yeah, I'm not surprised after him taking a couple of steps, again, bluffing in the last AB. I think the dugout's having a little bit of fun with it. The Brewster dugout kind of yelled he's going, but he didn't have any intention on going during that last at-bat.
Here's Raiselman's 0-1. Big swing and a miss there, and just like that, Will Simpson, or correction, Zach Neto falls behind here, 0-2.
Yeah, Neto now is really the guy in this Brewster lineup since the departure of Colin Davis, who had been hitting .420 on the season and, not surprisingly, stolen 13 bases.
Yep, absolutely. One of the highest averages you'll see across the CCBL. An 0-2 count right now. Raiselman looking to put Neto away. The 0-2, runner goes, swing and a miss, strike three. Throw down to second is close, but not in time as it takes an awkward skip in front of Zach Preisner. So the runner does move into scoring position, but strikeout number 2 on the day issued by Eric Raiselman to Zach Neto, and here comes cleanup hitter Will Simpson.
And I was happy to see Raiselman focus on the batter there, not really worry about the runner, because now, because you got the strikeout, it's inconsequential in the fact that they can just get the force out at first to end the inning. So it is a runner in scoring position, but a great job by Raiselman punching out back-to-back batters.
Yep, we'll see if Raiselman can get a third here as he gets a swing and a ball sent high in the air. This one drifting into the outfield grass. Hal Hughes settles under it from a spot at second base and makes the catch for out number 3. So a quiet first inning, still knotted up 0-0. Second inning of play due up here. The heart of the order for the Mariners here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back here at Stony Brook Field, Tyler, Henry, Colin, Casey, as we head to the second inning of play here. Heart of the order due up for the Mariners: Carter Putz, Jordan Beck, and Ben Malgiri. And obviously just the first half of the inning here, Colin, we saw something similar yesterday, a slow start for the Mariners bats as they struck out 5 times and 0 for 9 the first time through the order, but then they came out and exploded. And honestly, that's all you really need. Harwich didn't have a ton of hits yesterday. They only had 8 hits throughout the game, but they scored 7 runs, did all their damage in 2 innings, and it was enough for a 7-5 victory over the Chatham A's.
Yeah, it was a weird game in that they really did struggle at the plate. 9 up, 9 down to begin the ball game. That 4th inning really started to turn the tides, got some good pitching as well out of the bullpen, and it was a real complete game from the Mariners despite the fact that they got off to such a slow start.
Another inning of work coming up here for Mason Barnett, the starter for the Brewster Whitecaps. He delivers an off-speed pitch, looked like a breaking ball there, and the count starts at 0-1 here on Carter Putz. Putz has been very, very good when he's had runners on base so far this season, and I mentioned some of the high RBI stats for him so far this year. But with the bases empty, he has not been quite as efficient as a table setter. You'll certainly take that if you're Harwich, but one of the few times that we have seen him kind of a little bit on the short end of the stick against some of these pitchers.
Also still waiting to see some of those power numbers come in on the season. Still waiting for that first home run despite having 3 doubles.
He'll take this pitch. Misses for a ball here. Count goes to 1-2. Yeah, really this has not been a superb power lineup for the Harwich Mariners this season. Just 8 home runs. 3 of those belong, of course, to Brock Wilkin as the 1-2 pitch is on its way. And that's in there for a called strike 3. Putz didn't like it, but he will sit down. The first strikeout of the day here for Mason Barnett is of the looking variety, and that will bring up Jordan Beck.
Barnett, through the first 4 batters he's faced, his breaking ball looks really good today. A lot of movement on it. It's located it well, keeping it low, especially against a hitter like Putz, where if you elevate it, it's dangerous. So very impressive start thus far. Kind of what we saw 7 days ago right now for Brewster pitching.
Yep, and again, we've seen a lot of guys, to your point, Colin, that had pretty solid power numbers in college, but so far it's been more of a contact small ball game for the Mariners as he tries to work the off-speed down and away. It's left there by Jordan Beck, and the count starts off at 1-0. Of course, with that being said, there have been a couple of guys that have impressed so far. I mentioned Brock Wilkin, of course, doing basically what we expected him to do, but also a couple of home runs so far this season from Tatum Levens. And they were not awfully close to staying in the field of play.
Certainly not.
When Tatum gets a hold of one, look out. 2-0, that'll miss up and out, rolls back right to where we're sitting. In case you're wondering where we're sitting, our broadcast booth here at Stony Brook Field, perched really, I think, one of the better views that we have throughout the course of the season, pretty much right behind home plate off to the right side. Really good view here of all the action at Stony Brook. The 3-0 on the way, and that will miss low and away, had to confirm there. Jordan Beck becomes the first Harwich base runner with a 1-out walk. And here comes Ben Malgiri.
Interesting to see Beck draw the walk this time on 3-0. I believe it was last night where he swung at a 3-0 pitch coming into pinch hit and ended up popping it up foul. So this time showing a little bit more constraint, laying off, and Mariners have their first base runner of the game.
Yep, and this is where, again, Harwich has really started to turn it on. When they've had runners aboard, they've done a good job of bringing them in, something they really struggled with throughout the first week and a half or so of the season. But since then, they have turned that around magnificently. Decent sizable lead as the first pitch will miss down and away to Ben Malgiri, and the count starts 1-0. Saw really good command from Mason Barnett. You talked about it. He got ahead in the count, did a good job of setting things up for that breaking ball, but since then, at least for these last couple of batters, he has fallen behind as he falls 0-1, and you get the feeling Malgiri might be aggressive here as this one misses down and away for a second consecutive pitch, 2-0 the count.
And of course, Ben Malgiri looking to build off that huge game yesterday where he launched his second home run of the CCBL season, a 3-run blast opposite field. We haven't seen a lot of opposite field home runs from the Mariners over the last 2 seasons that they've played, but that was one of them.
Yeah, that was such a bizarre home run as well because it looked like a pop fly off the bat. It looked like it was going to stay in the field of play and then just drifted as a toss over to first will keep Jordan Beck close. Of course, if you take a look right now, Colin, at the American flag out in right center, things are blowing pretty intensely out to left field, and that is certainly going to benefit Ben Malgiri if he can pull one. It's going to be a great day for right-handed hitters at the plate. Here comes the 2-0. And that'll miss up and out. So another ball issued here by Mason Barnett. And still very early in the inning, but that control that we saw through the first 4 batters just not there.
Yeah, especially with the fastball. It seems like everything's missing up and out to right-handed batters with that heater that he's been throwing. Good velocity, but hasn't really been close to the plate.
So 3-0. Bat likely going to stay on the shoulder of Ben Malgiri. It will. This one across for a strike. Count goes to 3-1. And now the green light will be flicked on. Probably a neon light for Ben Malgiri with an ideal hitter's count. Barnett looking to get back into it. The righty comes set, checks the runner back to first, and brings home the pitch. And that is in there for strike two. Malgiri didn't look interested in offering it the fastball. It's a full count now.
Important thing to bring up with Beck on first through a walk and a 3-2 count to Malgiri. Brewster pitching did not walk any batters the last time these two teams faced, and right now we're in danger of seeing the second one in just an inning and a third.
Yeah, they only had one base runner for the Mariners that was not put there by a hit. No walks, no hits by pitches, just the one error as a swing and a miss here by Malgiri. That's got to get some confidence back into the arm of Mason Barnett. He gets a second strikeout of the day, and with two down, he'll face catcher Aaron McKeithen.
Yeah, there comes the location from the fastball. Now he's starting to drift instead of up and away to down and away. A really tough pitch to hit. Malgiri a little bit behind on that. He might have been sitting for an off speed, and really good bounce back after drawing the one out walk. Barnett, he's got great strikeout stuff, and we're seeing it here in the second.
We'll have a chance on the other side of the break here, Colin, to talk about the standings in the CCBL, more notably the standings in the Eastern Division. As the first pitch misses, gets away from the catcher. It was secured there by Byrne, at least it looked like for the time being, but then just kind of popped out and rolled through the grass. And that's going to put a runner in scoring position with two down.
Yeah, I think that's almost certainly going to be a pass ball as well, because that pitch wasn't really that far off the plate. At first I thought it might have been a called strike, but unable to hang on to it was a catcher, Byrne, a guy who's usually pretty sound defensively behind the plate, so not something you see too often.
Yeah, Byrne didn't have to try to block it in the dirt, also didn't have to pop up out of his catcher stance, and a big swing and a miss here will even the count at 1-1 as Aaron McKeithen tried to put one down the line. With the wind blowing out, you also see Brown out in left field playing a little bit deeper than he typically would, as they are anticipating any number of these Harwich right-handed hitters could certainly put one out to the fence. So again, runner in scoring position here for the M's, a 0-0 ball game, and a high fastball prompts a swing and a miss for McKeithen, who falls behind here 1-2.
It's a big at-bat for Aaron as he's just 3 for 19 on the season. He had that big game on the road against Falmouth, but other than that, it's been a bit of a tough start to his Cape League season. Looking to turn it around here as we are well into the second week of July.
Well, and of course, another big storyline to track here today is what could be happening later this evening and further on into the weekend is a foul tip back to the screen by McKeithen. The MLB draft getting started, I believe, at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight, and that will see a number of players have their name called and likely depart from the Cape permanently here. So you're going to see a lot of turnover on these rosters over the next week or so with guys getting drafted. Of course, that includes a number of former Harwich Mariners, both from 2019 and from earlier this season. Also includes a member of our very own media team, Mr. Jared Weatherby, who pitched very well for the M's back in 2019. He'll be taking a break from the graphics you see on social media for the next couple of days to focus on the draft, and again, hopefully hear his name called. 1-2, swung on and hit high in the air out to right field. Chasing it down the line is Bingham, and he will run out of real estate down the line. Count stays at 1-2. Good job here by Aaron McKeithen, battling his way through this at bat.
Of course, for the Cape League, it's always a big couple of nights, the MLB draft. Looks like Henry Davis is the guy who's going to go first as a former Cape Leaguer. He played for Bourne in 2019 for about a week. Question is, will he go first overall and continue that streak of former Cape League players being the first overall pick? Of course, Spencer Torkelson last year going first overall to the Tigers, and Adley Rutschman the year before that to the Baltimore Orioles.
And ironically, two guys that I had an opportunity to watch while they were in college as opposed to while they were on the Cape League. They were both members of Team USA before we had the opportunity to see them. Another pitch foul away here by Aaron McKeithen. I'll tell you what, you talk about the CCBL, a league in which you have the cream of the crop from all around the country playing. Watching Spencer Torkelson and Adley Rutschman play against middling Pac-12 teams and a couple of non-conference games as well, it was truly a sight to behold. I mean, the pitchers just looked defeated before the guys even stepped into the box.
Yeah, crazy the talent that comes through these leagues every summer.
Right now, the talent at the plate is Aaron McKeithen trying to fend off another pitch. This will miss low. So it's interesting, too, because, again, I had an opportunity as a student of Arizona State to call a number of games for the Sun Devil baseball team. So there's obviously the outfield fence that is, the field of play. Then there's another fence up on the hill behind it, and behind that fence you have a highway. There had never been a player, including Barry Bonds. Of course, Bonds played, I think, prior to the building of the new stadium. There had never been a player to hit the ball up onto the highway. Torkelson did it a number of times throughout the course of his career, to the point where they had to put a sign on the road warning people that, beware if it's a game day, there may be a baseball headed your way.
It's only fitting a guy who's breaking some of Bond's records at Arizona State hitting one that far.
Quick look back to second. They'll bring home the pitch. A very defensive swing here by McKeithen, who I don't even think intended to swing at that. It looked like it hit his bat as he turned his shoulders, and the bat just happened to be where the ball went. Fortunate for him, though, because I believe had that not made contact, it may have even been counted as a strike. So the count stays 2-2. This has been a long defensive at bat by Aaron McKeithen. Again, Jordan Beck standing on second, 2 away here in the top half of inning number 2, and time is called. And we've got a signal out to left as it looks like some trash being cleaned up by one of the coaches out in left field. So again, the count here stays 2-2. Mason Barnett has already picked up his first 2 strikeouts of the game, both in this inning. Looking for a third here. Aaron McKeithen has not obliged so far. Looks the runner back to second, brings home the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, misses up. Count goes to 3-2. And Colin, this is an impressive at-bat here by Aaron McKeithen. I believe he's into double digits pitches seen, and he has worked his way back from 0-2 to 3-2.
Yeah, no matter the result, he's doing an excellent job at the plate, driving up the pitch count of Mason Barnett. It was a comfortable inning after he got that second strikeout and second out. Not so much now with Beck standing on second.
Only one guy has reached base on him so far. That was Jordan Beck with a walk. No hits so far today. McKeithen fouls this one away back to the playground here at Stony Brook Elementary. In case you hear that and get concerned, don't worry. There is netting over the top of it. So no risk of anybody being struck by a ball over on the playground. But again, it's interesting because you have quite literally a grade school playground within, I'd say, probably 30 feet, 40 feet of the press box here at Stony Brook, certainly within that territory. Another payoff, and this is going to be called strike 3. All that work Aaron McKeithen put in, and it's going to result in a strikeout here by Mason Barnett. So 4 up, 3 down, still no hits allowed by Barnett, and we head to the home half of inning number 2. Whitecaps up to bat when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back here at the ballpark, Tyler Henry, Colin Casey, as we get set for the home half of inning number 2. A lengthy inning, given that only one runner reached base for the Harwich Mariners. A lot of long at-bats, and that certainly worked up the pitch count of Mason Barnett. And now Eric Raiselman will take over here to face most of the heart of the order, and Alex Freeland, Trey Faltine, and Mac Bingham.
Yeah, for Freeland, don't believe we saw him in the meeting a week ago. I think he was held out of the lineup for that game. But for Raiselman, all these guys are essentially new because he's only making his second appearance of the year, hasn't seen Brewster, and we'll see if he can pick up where he left off in the first.
First pitch misses, a fastball high. To be fair, though, it is a much different lineup overall than what we saw last time around. If you're talking about the starting guys that were in that lineup, of course, Curtis Byrne hitting down in the 8-hole as this pitch is across for a called strike to even the count of 1-1. But aside from him and Zach Neto, that's really about it. I mean, we saw pinch hits from Mac Bingham, but for the most part, an entirely new lineup to face here for the Harwich Mariners. The 1-1 misses outside, and the count goes to 2-1 here on the aforementioned Alex Freeland.
And again, no Colin Davis, which is really a huge loss for Brewster with how well he had been hitting this season.
Next pitch misses inside. Count goes to 3-1. And, you know, it's also worth noting the way that Brewster has won these last couple of games. We mentioned at one point this is a Brewster Whitecap team that was kind of down in the basement with Harwich of the East. Now, the East is very close, but since then they have jumped into the lead. Once again, Harwich will be playing a division leader as this ball hit high in the air out to left. Kavanaugh chasing it in, settles under it, and makes a comfortable catch for out number 1. That'll bring up Trey Faltine, but they've been doing it for the most part with pitching, which is interesting because you also have to take into consideration this is a Brewster team that has been blown out very badly on 2 occasions. They lost with giving up runs of 18 and 13 to 2 opponents during this streak, but if you take those 2 games out of the equation, their team ERA gets cut in half from approximately 4 all the way down to about 2. As Raiselman's first pitch is fouled away here by Trey Faltine.
Yeah, it's, you know, blowouts will happen, especially in the Cape League. I mean, we saw our fair share during that Mariners season 2 years ago where they were blown out. And all in all, it doesn't matter as long as you can get the wins on those other days. You'll have bad days as a team from time to time. You just got to look past them.
Next pitch from Raiselman in there for a strike. He's ahead 0-2 of the Whitecap second baseman. Harwich has not been on the giving or the receiving end of a real blowout so far this year. It seems like even in their high-scoring games, they have allowed a decent number of runs. The 0-2 is on its way. That'll miss just up and out. Count goes to 1-2 here on Faltine.
Couldn't have asked for a much better day, especially given the weather we've been getting lately on the Cape. I mean, it's a really comfortable atmosphere here at Stony Brook.
Absolutely. Swing and a miss. He got him. Fans him with the off-speed down and away, and that is strikeout number 3 on the day here for Eric Raiselman. Colin, he looks just as good as he did in his relief appearance here as a starter, at least through these first 5 batters,
yeah,
6 batters.
It's great to see, especially with how much has been going on for him over the last week and a half, obviously committing to LSU, and on top of that, pitching at such a high level. I mean, he's really made the most of every opportunity here in Harwich.
And he gets a first pitch strike here to Mac Bingham, who was one of those guys I mentioned got in against the Harwich Mariners earlier this season. Let's take a look at what Eric Raiselman has on offer. A fastball, a changeup, and a slider. And as we mentioned, a recent commit to LSU from the University of San Francisco. As this pitch misses and the count evened at 1-1. Raiselman, not the tallest guy, but he has a very good command over all of his pitches and pretty good velocity as we see a fastball breezed by Mac Bingham for strike 2.
He's also one of the more personable people you can really meet in the Cape League. I mean, introduced himself to us out of nowhere, it seemed like, in Bourne. Really great guy to talk to and someone who just really loves the game.
Here comes the 1-2 from Raiselman. This one's going to be chopped to first. Opportunity to be scooped up. Raiselman covers the bag, steps on it, and that is the inning. 1-2-3, very quickly into the night here go the Brewster Whitecaps. To the third we go. Preisner, Hughes, and Levens due up for the Mariners here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey to the third inning we go. Still scoreless here from Stony Brook, and it'll be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up here for the Mariners. Zach Preisner, Hal Hughes, and Tatum Levens. Mariners, after a really good hitting performance yesterday, Colin, still looking for their first hit here in this one. And after a little bit of a stumble with command, Mason Barnett comes back, gets 3 consecutive strikeouts, and he is right back in control of this game.
Yeah, the Mariners are still looking for their first hit, but their approach compared to last Sunday's game has been completely different. They are making they're making Barnett throw a lot of pitches early on, and it'll pay its dividends the second time through the order. We saw it happen yesterday.
So let's talk, as this first pitch misses up for a ball, let's talk a little bit about this Eastern Division. Obviously down in the West, things are a little bit less intriguing. There is a close fight right now for that second playoff spot. Bourne starting to run away with the 1 seed. They are 11, 1, and 3 as this pitch misses up for ball 2. And of course on the other side of that, you have Hyannis down at 2 and 13. Pretty good fight there for second place, mildly intriguing. Then you look at the East, and this is absolutely insane as the 2-0 pitch is swung on and missed here by Preisner to make it a 2-1 count. If Harwich beats Brewster today, and if Orleans can find a way to pick up a victory as well, there will be a 4-way tie for first place in the East. And Chatham is only about a game and a half behind everybody else. So a fascinating set of circumstances in the Eastern Division. Is a good fight back pitch here by Mason Barnett, who's even the count at 2-2.
Yeah, just a log jam. And remember, this year, it's going to be as important as ever to be there at the end because there's only 2 playoff spots for each division.
This one misses upstairs. Yeah, nobody really falling behind here in the East. We could be in. I kind of mentioned it before. We may not have as intriguing a battle on our hands when we get to the end of the season, but if things keep up like this, it may be more entertaining than ever. Here comes the payoff. That one swung on, lunged at rather, by Preisner right at Neto. Scoops it up, throws to first in time for the first out of the inning. And that is now 7 out of 8 retired here for Mason Barnett.
Yeah, Preisner making some solid contact on that pitch. Got a good payoff pitch right over the plate. It's a little bit out in front of it, kind of rolled over, and any ball hit in the direction of Zach Neto is almost always going to be an out.
So that brings up Hal Hughes, the 9-hole hitter for the Harwich Mariners. And again, one of the few mainstays who could see his name called over these next couple of days here in the Major League Baseball draft. First pitch to him, a breaking ball misses down and away. Count starts off at 1-0.
His former teammate at LSU, Daniel Cabrera, had his name called last summer.
Yep, and this one swung on and hit high in the air out to straightaway center field, but drifting in to make the easy catch is Jones, 2 away.
Barnett responding pretty well after throwing a ton of pitches in the second inning, this time going right after Preisner and Hughes. Granted, Preisner was still able to work a full count. This time he's able to retire Hughes on just 2 pitches.
So let's see if Harwich can have the same kind of fortune they had yesterday, second time through the order. Tatum Levens will lead it off here with 2 down in the inning. This pitch skipped in the dirt, bounces off the chest plate and back to the screen here. And the count starts at 1-0. Plenty of other games going on around the CCBL. We'll get you an update on who else will be in action. Of course, playing here at Stony Brook, this is one of the few games that is in action right now, as we've got a 1-1 count here on Tatum Levens. Mason Barnett from the windup, the righty kicks and deals, and this ball is hit a ton out to right center field, tracking it back to the track, to the wall, off the glove, out in right of Bingham. Turning for second is Tatum Levens, and the Mariners have a 2-out double with Press Kavanaugh coming to the plate.
Yeah, Bingham out there tracked that really well, considering it was hit right to the wall. But once he got there, just glanced off of it. I mean, I think they're still going to give Levens the double on that one, and they will as it goes up on the scoreboard as a hit. Just missed getting that one out of there. It is a deep right center field here in Brewster, 380 to right center. Just couldn't quite get it out for a second home run, but another runner in scoring position for Harwich with 2 down.
Yep, last time they had this position, Aaron McKeithen worked a long at-bat. Ultimately did come up empty, but still raised the pitch count here of Mason Barnett. Now off to face Press Kavanaugh in this spot, and his first pitch is a fastball right around the knees for a called strike. Of course, only one other game going on right now in the CCBL. It sees YD hosting the Orleans Firebirds right now in the top of the third, a 1-1 tie. Again, if Orleans and Harwich win today, we're looking at a 4-way tie for first in the East, at least in total points, the 0-1. This is up. Count goes here to 1-1. Later on this evening, Katuitt will hit the road to face the Falmouth Commodores. The Wareham Gatemen will welcome in the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And in your one interdivisional game going on tonight, the Chatham Anglers hosting the Bourne Braves. If trends continue to repeat themselves, that is not a great sign for the Chatham A's.
No, it is not.
Here comes the 1-1. And this one swung on and missed. Count goes to 1-2 here on Kavanaugh, who today is 0 for 1 with a ground out. That is a Bourne team that just will not lose. They have lost just once so far this season. They are 11-1-3. Just an absurd season that the Bourne Braves are having. And as we've mentioned a time or two before, the least number of draft-eligible guys, they pretty much have their squad set in stone here. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes Press Kavanaugh. That'll be the 4th strikeout of the outing here for Mason Barnett, and we will step away. When we come back, the Whitecaps up to bat here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to Stony Brook Field here in Brewster, Massachusetts. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey. An ideal day for baseball here, Colin. It's not too warm, it's not too cold. This is about what you would hope for, especially after a week, as you mentioned, of pretty dismal weather. And unfortunately, it looks like that dismal weather may be set to continue tomorrow. Our game in Chatham may be in jeopardy, but really hoping we can find a way to get that one in.
Yeah, got to enjoy every single day of good weather while it lasts, because you never know out here on Cape Cod when that can change in an instant.
So another inning of work coming up here for Eric Raiselman, who has been doing great so far. Gave up a leadoff walk to Spencer Jones. Since then, he's set down the last 6 guys he has faced. Now he'll face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters in Curtis Byrne, Porter Brown, and Spencer Jones. Misses his first pitch here for a ball, misses his second as well, and the count goes now to 2-0.
You know, since we were talking about the draft it being tonight, Tyler, one guy I want to mention is the guy who was drafted that was a Harwich Mariner in 2019, and that's Logan Allen, who has been outstanding so far in high A with the Cleveland Indians system as a count now 2-1.
Yeah, no, he has been absolutely killing it, and I think you and I kind of expected that. We saw what he was capable of through those first couple of starts, and as you mentioned, we saw similar starts from Evan Shavers. Swing and a miss here by Raiselman will make it a 2-2 count, so you really do wonder what that sets the ceiling as for a guy like Shaver, but certainly good to see those guys having success, and I think that's going to make watching the major leagues a lot more enjoyable for us over the next couple of seasons, seeing some of these ex-Cape League guys that we watched here at this level. 2-2 from Raiselman, fouled away. Count stays right where it's at.
Yeah, it's almost eerily similar it's crazy how similar that Allen and Shaver are. They're both lefties that don't exactly have the hardest fastball, but their stuff is just so hard to hit, and they rack up strikeout numbers at such a high rate.
Most certainly. The 2-2 swing and a miss. Speaking of racking up strikeout numbers, that's number 4 for Eric Raiselman as he blows a high fastball by Curtis Byrne, and now he'll face the 9-hole hitter in Porter Brown.
It's now 7 in a row retired by Raiselman after issuing a leadoff walk in the home half of the first. Really getting comfortable, and that's something that you want to see that happen over several innings. He got a little bit tired towards the end of his outing in his debut where he gave up a couple of runs. You want him to continue that strong pace throughout his start this evening.
Pitch on the way. This in there for a called strike to Peter Porter Brown. And Tim Foley and I had an opportunity to talk to Coach Englert. He said one of the things he was really looking to get out of his guys, especially out of his rotation, were more innings from the starters. And that's something that we see here is these last couple of guys have really been left out there a bit longer. Of course, the longest starting outing in the CCBL so far this season, a 7-inning outing by Harwich's very own Trey Dombrowski just a couple of days ago. Of course, yesterday you also saw a pretty lengthy outing from Billy Seidel, who went 5 1/3. After we thought he may have been done, he came back out to start the next half inning, and a pitch fouled off the foot of Porter Brown will keep the count at 0-2.
Yeah, I spoke after the game with Harwich manager Steve Englert. He was really happy with what he saw from Billy Seidel bouncing back after a bit of a shaky start, but he was able to do what his job is, and that's to go deep into the ball game and give his bullpen guys a bit of a rest. And bullpen guys also showed up as well.
Raiselman will draw a high pop fly, drifting out into foul territory. Should be easy enough for Prez Kavanaugh, who makes the catch at the line for out number 2. And in addition to everything else that we've kind of had a chance to talk about, let's talk a little bit about that starting rotation here for the Harwich Mariners. So obviously, you lose one of the guys we've already mentioned earlier this year, and a future draft eligible guy who's been just killing it in terms of the strikeout numbers, Evan Schauber. You also lose Nick Sinicola, who put up some pretty solid strikeout numbers, and as a swing and a miss here to Spencer Jones. And then of the guys that Harwich kind of threw out there to start games, some of them have looked pretty good. Billy Seidel's had a couple of really solid outings. Some of them have struggled. We got the note today that Timmy Manning has officially departed from the CCBL, so he will not be an option for the Mariners after a bit of a rough first couple of outings. He departs, and an 0-2 count here. So it's important for guys like Raiselman and Dombrowski, who, could potentially be mainstays in the rotation, to continue showing off what they have, because Harwich really does need a couple of solid arms for these starts.
Yeah, be interested also to see how Andrew Mosiello and Cam Schlittler kind of develop as they make more and more starts. We've seen some flashes of greatness from those guys. We're trying to see if they can develop that consistency as well.
Pitch in there for a called strike 3. Spencer Jones can only watch it go by, and as we are a third of the way through this game, Colin just 1 hit and 2 total base runners for these two teams. A slow offensive start. We'll turn it over here in just a moment. To the 4th inning we go here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Tyler, Henry, Colin, Casey. Mariners fans, Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom. Explore undergraduate programs including new majors in sport and recreation management, graphic design, marketing, and computer science online at www.curry.edu. Now for the next 3 innings of play-by-play, turn it over to my broadcast partner, Colin Casey. Colin, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler. It's been a pitcher's duel from Stony Brook Field here in Brewster as Mason Barnett, Eric Raiselman, both going 3 scoreless innings, a lone hit in this one belonging to Harwich. And now Barnett tasked with facing the heart of the Mariners order. Brock Wilkin, Carter Putz, Jordan Beck due up. Wilkin came into today 3rd in the CCBL out of guys that qualified in batting average, hitting .364.
Yeah, and he's been hitting the cover off the ball as well. A number of extra base hits. Mentioned he leads this Harwich team in home runs so far this season. I believe also leads the team in RBIs with 14. Burst in a lot of stat categories for the Mariners,
including a half dozen doubles as the first pitch breaking ball in for a strike to Wilkin.
But how about this? Typically when you talk about a guy with those kinds of numbers, he also leads the team in strikeouts and does not walk a lot. That has not been the case. Brock Wilkin also leads this team in walks with 10 so far this year.
0-1 breaking ball that Barnett skips in for a ball. Steve Englert mentioned, I read an article from, I think it was the Cape Cod Journal earlier this week about Wilkin and how they don't take freshmen too often. You got to be really impressive to be a freshman and thrive out here in the Cape League. And Brock is certainly one of those guys that has thrived so far as fastball on the outside corner puts the count at 1-2.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy that, again, leads a team that if they win today, they're tied for first in the division. He leads them in batting average, runs, hits, doubles, home runs, RBIs, walks, and on-base percentage, and slugging percentage.
1-2 is chopped foul towards the Brewster dugout. Yeah, he certainly made a strong campaign for Cape League MVP this season, no question about it. Rylan Thomas, another guy who's been outstanding for the Orleans Firebirds, hitting .432 so far this season through 44 at-bats. Barnett shakes off the sign. Now he delivers the 1-2. Breaking ball wrapped on the ground outside of third foul.
Colin, I just noticed something that I haven't really seen throughout the course of the entire season. The Harwich Mariners so far this year, no triples. I realize it's kind of a rare thing, but still, this long into the season, you would expect that something would have rolled to the corner by now.
Yeah, what's crazy is the other day, Wareham actually had a pair of triples in a game against Chatham. That 4-4 tie two nights ago. 1-2, swung on and missed. Strike three, pulled the string, and Wilkin goes down on strikes. 1 out to begin the top of the fourth.
Yeah, good piece of pitching there by Mason. Barnett comes back at him with the high fastball, and Wilkin becomes the 5th strikeout victim of the day here, but you know, we've seen similar things here. Second time through the order is really where both Harwich and their opponents, and really any realistic good baseball team, starts to turn things on. So Putz at the plate here. We'll see if he can get the Mariners going with one away.
Putz also a strikeout victim in the second. Breaking ball misses up and away, went down looking to begin that frame. Barnett retired each of the first 4 batters he faced before walking the man in the on-deck circle, Jordan Beck. 1-0 foul tip held onto by the catcher, Byrne.
Well, it's also interesting because no matter what happens, we've talked a little bit about this Harwich Mariners rotation. No matter who they find to fill those spots, it's going to be tough to follow the act that was the 2019 rotation.
That one flared foul off to the right.
Talking about 4 of the best starting pitchers on the entire Cape, and then you had a bullpen with a guy like Joe Boyle that could throw 98, 99, even 100 on a good day, coming in to close things out. So, you know, again, they're putting the pieces together here, but this is a team that does a pretty good job typically of getting solid starting pitching, and we're starting to see that take shape.
Barnett's 1-2 is lined into right field for a base hit. Good job by Putz getting the hands around on a breaking ball down and in. And he's able to reach base with a 1-out single.
Yeah, that was not a comfortable ball for him to hit, but a good job there slowing his bat down a little bit, reaches out, pokes it into right field just over the head of Faltine at second. Now you've got Jordan Beck up with a runner on base.
Beck walked and advanced to second on a pass ball in the second before he was stranded. Mariners have stranded 2 men in scoring position despite only having 2 hits through 3 to third innings. Barnett working from the stretch. A look at first. He comes home. In the dirt, nice stop there from Byrne. He bluffs a throw down to first, but Putz not taking any chances.
And that's kind of the other thing you can't afford right now. If you're the Brewster Whitecaps, you can't put yourself in a position where you get another score or another runner in scoring position. Harwich has had a guy on second twice today. Has not been able to bring anybody around to score here. But you get the feeling you keep giving the Mariners opportunities, sooner or later they're going to find a way to cash it.
Infield at double play depth, the 1-0. Swung on and fouled off to the right. Beck still kind of looking to get into a rhythm here on the Cape. One of the later arrivals coming from Tennessee. Coming into this game, hitting .286 on the season, but no extra base hits yet. 6 for 21, all singles. Barnett with a throw over to first, back with a dive is Putz.
Yeah, something about this place. Maybe it's the early start time. I don't know. It's just, it seems like we don't see a ton of hit numbers put on the board during any of these games between Harwich and Brewster when they're played here at Stony Brook.
They used them all up from that 12-11 game last season that was played in 2019.
What a day that was.
And that game was called due to darkness. The 1-1 is swung on and missed by Beck.
I think that remains to this day one of the craziest games I have ever seen as a broadcaster. I mean, you're talking about a Harwich team that jumped out to, I believe, an 11-1 lead, and then somehow was outscored 11-1, and then because the game was called due to darkness, still won. Got the full 2 points in that one, and that really did kind of kick off a run for the Mariners that pushed them into the 4 seed, put Brewster a little bit behind the 8 ball, and forced the Whitecaps to miss the postseason.
1-2, swing and a miss. Beck couldn't catch up to the low fastball, and he heads back to the dugout. Another strikeout for Barnett, and that gives him 6 on the afternoon, 2 away.
Yeah, and after a first inning where he wasn't even really getting those 2-strike counts, he was just kind of pitching to contact, letting his defense do the heavy lifting. But since then, he's turned it around. You talked about it. He has gotten 8 outs, 6 of them via the K.
Ben Malgieri to the dish with 2 down. Putt still on first. First pitch is flared out to left field, falling quickly. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Putts up to second. Throw comes in from Brown in left. And the Mariners have 2 on with 2 down here in the top of the 4th.
Yep, pair of hits here for Aaron McKeithen, who, as you mentioned before, had one really big game, is looking to have potentially another one. And these are the kinds of situations that can get a guy reactivated in that sense. As McKeithen looking to make a big impact here on this game.
Struck out looking to end the second inning. That's now 3 straight games for Ben Malgieri, picking up a hit, putting together a little bit of a hit streak here, and good to see him continue that momentum from yesterday's 3 RBI performance. First pitch to McKeithen is over for a strike.
Yep, and McKeithen fell behind 0-2 during that last at bat. You mentioned he battled his way back, still fell to a strikeout. So looking to keep things even or find some solid contact early in the count here. Doesn't want to fall behind the 8 ball again.
Barnett comes set. Looks twice at second, now 3 times the pitch. Breaking ball just below the knees.
Yep, good patience here. And he's had the chance to see more pitches than anybody else from Mason Barnett. You got to think that knowledge certainly helps the hitter, as he saw probably close to 11 or 12 pitches during that first at bat. So he knows what's going to be in store for him here. Barnett has kind of lost the element of surprise in that sense.
Certainly an outing that Barnett has been looking for, though, on the Cape after his first 3 not going too well collectively. And time is called as, I think it was a kind of a strategic time called by Aaron McKeithen, because he saw a pretty big lead by Carter Putz at second and wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to get back in time. 1-1 still the count, scoreless between Harwich and Brewster at Stony Brook Field. And now a bluff at second by Barnett.
Yeah, I mean, again, just trying to keep the runner close. He knows anything into the outfield is going to have a chance to score him.
Putz at second. Malgieri at first. The 1-1 is over, and the count is 1-2.
Yeah, good fastball there in on the hands of Aaron McKeithen, and that's a tough pitch to offer at, but certainly within the zone. And now he has fallen behind here in the count, 1-2.
Zach Preisner hoping to get an opportunity. He waits in the on-deck circle. Barnett another check at second, the 1-2. Fastball chased in, popped up to the right side. Will Simpson has room in front of the Mariners dugout, and he makes the catch to retire the side. So despite a couple of singles, the Mariners still kept off the scoreboard. We've played 3.5 from Brewster. Harwich nothing, Brewster nothing. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Home half of inning number 4 from Stony Brook Field. Colin Casey alongside Tyler Henry on this gorgeous Sunday afternoon. Back out is Eric Reiselman, who has been very strong. Reiselman, of course, coming off that great start, or that great debut he made earlier in the week, and certainly built off of that, as so far through 3 innings, he already has 5 strikeouts.
Well, let me ask you this, Colin. You feel like 3 spots in the rotation, after what we've seen here so far, may be locked in. Billy Seidel has looked very good in both of his starts. Dombrowski looked amazing in his start yesterday. Reiselman's been doing the exact same thing so far here today. You've lost Timmy Manning, Nick Sinicola, Evan Shaver. 3 guys, or there are only 3 other guys that have started a game for the Harwich Mariners since this first pitch misses outside. Cam Schlittler, Mosiello, and Giesting. So, you know, of those 3 guys, you really only need 2 consistent starters. The question is, who's going to fill those spots?
1-0 just off the plate to Jake Thompson, who steps in for the second time this afternoon. Thompson, out of Oklahoma State, struck out swinging, the first strikeout victim for Eric Reiselman this afternoon. 2-0 is over. Mariners infield playing straight up. We don't see a whole lot of shifts in the Cape Cod League. Most teams not really banking on that, as the count now even 2-2.
Yeah, I think guys are still, you know, the important thing to remember is that all these guys are still developing. So those very deep running trends that you see at the major league level, not really coming into play here.
Reiselman's 2-2, swing and a miss. No, he got a piece of it, but it's held on to by McKeithen, so that is strikeout number 7 for Reiselman. Check that, number 6. And there's now 1 out in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, still a big strikeout nonetheless, and notably, that is now 10 in a row retired here by Eric Reiselman. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there. I heard camels. Not a typical mascot. Definitely not a D1 mascot, I don't think.
Zach Neto steps in. Are you sure he didn't say Campbell? From Campbell
He did say Campbell. No, you are correct. And that is very much Division I.
There's a ball hit out to right field. Coming over to make the catch is Jordan Beck. So Zach Neto retired on just 1 pitch. And it's a quick 2 up, 2 down for Reiselman and the Mariners.
Yep, and now an opportunity to get Will Simpson. That is the one fun thing. You know, we talk about some of the more fun mascots across NCAA, across all divisions, but even at the Division I level, you've got the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. There are some very fun ones. The UMKC Kangaroos.
And then there's your generic Wildcats, Cougars, all those types of things.
One of the 8 Division I Wildcats.
Yeah, we had that discussion earlier this week as first pitch breaking ball in for a strike to Simpson. Will Simpson popped out to Hal Hughes at second in his first trip. Check swing, but is able to hold up 1-1.
And things actually lightening up a little bit here in terms of the actual brightness level with the sun coming out from behind the clouds here. You can kind of see where we're at in terms of daylight.
1-1 skipped in and actually picked up out of the air by Simpson, who just drops it for McKeithen, who throws it back 2-1.
Yeah, Simpson, I mean, it was already chest level. Didn't really have to do too much work there to make the catch, and decides to help him out a little bit.
Reiselman's 2-1. Tries to get him chase the fastball, unable to do so, 3-1. That's actually the pitch that Simpson popped out on last time, so you wonder if Reiselman just kind of trying to go back to what worked in their first meeting. The 3-1, that one's over for a strike as Simpson tossed the bat, and he will have to go get it. He'll get some help from Alex Freeland, who's in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, he was very confident, but he pats the chest right now, looks at the home plate umpire and says, "My bad, that was in the zone." And now we'll come back and try to battle off a full count pitch.
Long look in by Reiselman. Now he starts his windup. The payoff. Fastball, that one misses just high, and that is ball 4. So Will Simpson heads down to first. That will end the streak of 11 in a row retired by Reiselman. And second walk he's surrendered this afternoon.
Yep, 11 in a row, and the only bookends are walks. Spencer Jones was able to reach second back in that first inning, but Will Simpson gets aboard here with 2 away.
So here is Freeland out of Central Florida. He flew out to begin the second inning. And time is quickly called. And they're actually going to have Trey Faltini back up as he was pretty far behind home plate. Umpire just kind of worried about his safety there. First pitch to Freeland, misses up and away.
Yeah, he is really kind of creeping up here. I mean, if you're talking about a standard TV camera angle you would see in the majors, I mean, he might be one of those guys that pops in from the left side of your screen. He is really close compared to where most guys stand to take those warm-up cuts.
1-0 is fastball in. Count even 1-1. Freeland coming into today, 167 on the season, 5 for 30. No home runs, 1 RBI. Simpson takes his lead off first. He got caught leaning a little bit, but is back in safely with the dive.
Yeah, not a high risk, high reward situation there, as Raiselman didn't exactly throw a bullet. He'll check him over again, but just trying to keep him honest here. Again, we know how aggressive Brewster likes to get on the base path sometimes.
And despite that aggression, Simpson still looking for his first steal of the summer. 1-1. Raiselman airmails a fastball 2-1.
Colin, assuming, of course, that we don't have a tie that ruins it for everybody, both of these teams are looking to make it a 3-in-a-row winning streak. Harwich and Brewster have both won each of their last 2. And the Whitecaps, I believe, have won 4 of their last 5.
The 2-1. And once again, a bluff down by Simpson. The pitch was a called strike, and McKeithen fired it over to second, but Simpson never had any real thought of going.
And just an ear-to-ear grin on the face of Will Simpson as he got back over to first base. As they throw down to second again. Not a bad idea, though. If you try to backpick him, there's always the chance that he pops out and makes it to second. So McKeithen just trying to make sure he stays on first.
Raiselman's 2-2. Fastball sliced foul out of play to the left.
And this is where Raiselman does, again, some of his best work. A 2-strike count here. He's going to keep everything around the zone, but he's not going to give Alex Freeland anything solid to try to barrel up.
Currently 2 other games in action in the CCBL. The YD Red Sox have broken the 1-1 tie. They now lead it 4-1 at Red Wilson Field. That game in the top of the 4th. And Katuitt and Falmouth just underway. Top of the 1st inning from Arnie Allen Diamond.
Of course, the YD Red Sox and Brewster Whitecaps are the only 2 teams in the East that could have a solo lead of first place after today, depending on how things shake out.
2-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. That one crept up on Freeland as he was way behind. Pair of strikeouts in the 4th for Raiselman. He is now up to 7 on the game. We head to the 5th, still scoreless from Stony Brook Field. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. To the fifth inning we go from Brewster, where the Whitecaps and Harwich Mariners are scoreless. Colin Casey alongside Tyler Henry. Fans, for sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up for the Mariners, Preisner, Hughes, and Levens, as they look to pick up their first run of the game against Brewster, but it would also be the first run they've scored against the Whitecaps this season, and of course this being their second meeting.
Yep, just 2 hits and just 3 total base runners in that last game. I believe only one guy reached scoring position the entire evening, as Brewster was able to pick up a critical victory. Almost, honestly, if you go back and look at that game, it really did kind of kick off a run for the Brewster Whitecaps. They did get blown out by Orleans, I believe, the following night, but aside from that, they've looked really good ever since.
Count 1-0 to Preisner, who grounded out his first time up. Now 2-0 as Barnett airmailed that ball, and it's going to ask for a new one, so his catcher Byrne able to get him that.
Yep, 2 pitches out of the zone here. This is where you'll also see, both Barnett and Raiselman start to labor a little bit here as they face the order for a third time.
2-0 is fastball. That's in for a strike. I think the advantage for the pitcher is only going to get better as of right now because the shade has now covered the entire batter's box and pitcher's in sun. So that's a pretty big contrast for trying to pick up pitches out of his hand, but falls behind 3-1 to Preisner.
Yeah, it definitely does change, and with the tree line the way it is, I believe it comes back into the sun, as this will be a walk issued here to Zach Preisner to lead off the inning. But yeah, I mean, it goes from the sun to the shade to the sun to the shade. As a pitcher, it doesn't matter. As the batter, that can be awfully difficult to deal with.
So the Mariners have the leadoff man on for the first time in this one. Preisner stands at first. Hal Hughes digs in. He's 0 for 1. Hit a lazy fly ball out to center in the third inning.
Yeah, through 8 half innings, this is just the second time for either side that the leadoff man has been aboard. The last time it happened, bottom of the first, Spencer Jones for Brewster.
Runner going. It's a hit and run. Hughes stings this one out to right. A dive, and the catch is made. The throw back to first won't be in time to double him off, but how about Mac Bingham laying out in right center field, and a spectacular first out for the Whitecaps.
I mean, 2 incredible plays out of the outfield, likely taking extra base hits away from the Harwich Mariners. Harwich hasn't had to do the same. Raiselman's been really doing a good job of picking his guys up, but, man, right now, the defense in the outfield, especially in the corners for Bingham and Brown, has just been phenomenal, and now we're going to have a meeting on the mound here.
Yeah, interesting that it's after an out. You wonder if this could be the end for Barnett, as there is a left-hander warming in the Brewster bullpen. Right now, it's just a discussion.
I mean, I can't imagine they would pull a guy who's given up just 3 hits to this point in the game, especially when a couple of those weren't incredibly solid contact. But now the umpire's running out and signaling something to the bullpen. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, I think he got the inside scoop that it was going to be a change, because in comes the new pitcher. So Mason Barnett's day is done after 4 1/3 innings. He is responsible for Zach Preisner at first, and we'll tell you about the new Whitecaps pitcher when we come back. Still scoreless from Brewster here in the top of the 5th. Welcome back. Pitching change for the Whitecaps. Hunter Owen, the left-hander from Vanderbilt, replaces Mason Barnett, who goes 4 1/3 innings, gives up 3 hits, walks 2, strikes out 6, and is responsible for Zach Preisner, who reached via leadoff walk. He stands at first, and Tatum Levens digs in for his 3rd trip. He is 1 for 2 with a double.
Yeah, and a couple of reasonable explanations that could be, the reason for the pitching change at kind of an odd juncture here. Levens did have the double off of the starter Mason Barnett last time out, also exactly 2 times through the order. So that may have been the plan from the beginning here for the Brewster Whitecaps. But nonetheless, Owen comes in, and as you mentioned, a guy that went really deep into the College World Series playoff.
First pitch misses up and into Levens. He has to duck out of the way. Yep, of course, Vanderbilt, the runner-up this year, unable to repeat as champions. Mississippi State winning their first in program history. Owen, the 6'6", 240 left-hander out of South Portland, Maine, making his first appearance for the Whitecaps this season, and he falls behind 2-0 to Levens.
Of course, Mississippi State kind of entered that championship series as I feel pretty comfortable saying America's team.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were pulling for them after the whole NC State incident, which is in no way Vanderbilt's fault, but just yet another instance of the NCAA doing NCAA things.
2-0 is chopped foul. Certainly a frustrating end to NC State's season through no fault of their own. Levens looking to break through in the scoring for the Mariners. Pickoff move by Owen.
Yep, just trying to keep the runner close again. I mean, I don't think in this entire game, going back and looking at it, no one has reached third base yet. We're about halfway through this one, and nobody has gotten to that point in this game.
Certainly been a pitcher's duel. 2-1 is lined into right field for a base hit. Preisner takes a look back and will hold at second. So Levens with his 2nd hit of the afternoon, the 4th for Harwich. And with 2 on and 1 out, in steps Prez Kavanaugh.
Yeah, and again, Tatum Levens is becoming one of those guys that you cannot take his bat out of the lineup. We've already talked about some of the home run numbers, the RBI numbers, and he is really coming through day in and day out for this lineup. And now you've got the part of the order due up that you want here. Runners on first and second, 1 away, and you've got Kavanaugh, Wilkin, and Putz. You'll take those odds every day of the week if you're the Harwich Mariners.
Kavanaugh 0 for 2, grounded out and struck out. Owen with the first pitch. It's an excuse me swing back to Owen. He gloves it, looks towards second, realizing he can't turn 2, and gets the sure out at first. So a swinging bunt moves both runners up 90 feet. And with 2 down in second and third, in steps Brock Wilkin.
Yeah, not a bad scenario to get yourself into. Ultimately, you do your job, even if it's not what Prez Kavanaugh was hoping for. He moves the runners away. So if they're going to get a force out here of Wilkin, it has to come at first. And obviously, in this position, anything that gets down in the outfield is going to score at least 1, maybe even 2, if Wilkin can put one in the gap somewhere.
Wilkin, of course, the team leader in RBIs this season for Harwich. First pitch is hit on the ground towards short. Neto has it. The throw in time, and the Whitecaps escape. So we're halfway through this one. Still yet to see any runs scored. Harwich nothing, Brewster nothing. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Bottom of the 5th inning from Stony Brook Field. Still no score between the Harwich Mariners and the Brewster Whitecaps in the second meeting of now 5 for these two teams, with one being rained out, scheduled to be at White House Field last week. But at this point, we'll only see 3 more, and Tyler, that's if we're lucky. So in steps Trey Faltine.
Sorry, what was that called? I was a little distracted.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, I was just saying if we will be lucky to get 3 more games out of these two teams based on the weather we've seen this year.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously you want to play as many games against the East specifically as you can.
First pitch to Trey Faltine is outside, just off the plate for a ball.
I think we're also going to see a much longer leash on Eric Raiselman here from Coach E than what we saw out of Mason Barnett. He wants to see his guys go deeper into games, and he has been willing to let guys stay in to test that.
That one fouled back. There is someone getting loose in the Mariners bullpen at this point. I think I might actually be able to tell who that is for once. The 1-1 is up and away despite the tricky angle.
And it looks like we're going to get official confirmation from the third member of our 4-man team here.
Yeah, better to be safe than sorry, knowing my track record. The 2-1 just below the knees. It's now 3-1 to Faltine.
Always enjoy another episode of bullpen sighting adventures with Colin Casey. Thought we'd have a show on ESPN by now.
The 3-1. Foul tip, straight back.
Although I think if we did have a show on ESPN, they would have to have you give who you think it was, and then we'd have to stop to talk about LeBron for a second before focusing on the CCBL again.
Coming at their lives down in Bristol. Hope no one's listening from there. Payoff pitch from Raiselman. Front door breaking ball over for a strike. Faltine can't believe it as he puts his head down, walks back to the dugout. A big strikeout from Raiselman. That's back-to-back, dating back to last inning. 8 on the afternoon, and that is out number 1.
Yeah, similar to what we saw. I mean, again, out of Trey Dombrowski a couple of nights ago. Just crazy high strikeout numbers. And, I mean, you look at the scoreboard right now. I mean, Raiselman's been cruising here through the first 5 1/3.
Yep, pitch misses up and in to Mac Bingham, who made a heck of a catch. The top half of the inning, robbing Hal Hughes of what would have been extra bases out in right center. So for 1 with a ground out to first. But he's ahead here 2-0 on Raiselman.
Yep, and Raiselman has not fallen behind too many hitters here, but when he has, he's done a good job of bouncing back. We'll see if he can do that again here with a 2-0 count, as you mentioned.
Raiselman's 2-0. That one's over for a called strike. Approaching the half-hour mark until the Pittsburgh Pirates are on the clock in the MLB draft. Definitely no consensus first overall pick this year, as there's a high pop-up drifting into foul territory on the right side and lands just beyond the protective netting near the on-deck circle, so Keithan unable to make a play on it.
But ultimately, that is still a big pitch because Raiselman gets back in here. 2-2 now the count instead of 2-0. So an opportunity to potentially set Bingham down. Only 3 guys in the lineup he hasn't retired with a strikeout so far. Bingham, Porter Brown, and Will Simpson.
All goose eggs across the board for the Whitecaps at the plate today. Bingham digs back in. He awaits the 2-2. High pop-up once more, heading our direction over our heads and out of play.
As Colin takes a look back to critique the form of the people trying to grab the foul ball.
It's a nice play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Raiselman peers back in over his glove. Another 2-2. That one hit out towards center field, not deep enough to get out. Ben Malgeri comes in, makes a catch with one hand for out number 2.
Yep, another quick out here, and now he'll face Curtis Byrne, who he set down the first time with ease.
Byrne struck out swinging to lead off the home half of the third. Byrne out of Texas Christian University, the Horned Frogs. Right-hand hitting catcher digs in. First pitch he sees is a ball missing low.
Yep, down and away that time, and you see Raiselman, really trying to get guys to chase here on these first pitches. He was doing a good job getting ahead earlier, but now, second, third time through the lineup, being a little bit more cautious.
1-0 is a fastball up and away. Byrne coming into this game. Strong start to the season, especially as a catcher, 292. Hitting well for average. Not a whole lot of power, though, just the one double. The only extra base hit he's had, the 2-0. Misses down and away. I believe that double actually came against the Mariners 1 week ago. Have to go back and check. I do know he at least had one RBI in that game. And time is called as we got a mound visit.
Yep, Coach Berger wants to go out there and have a word with him again, trying to approach Curtis Byrne, who back in that first game did have that big RBI single back in the second inning. Aside from that, 0 for 3, but a good day for him nonetheless. He did get them on the board early in that game, and Brewster kind of just kept nickel and diming the Harwich Mariners. Kept nickel and diming the Harwich Mariners to death in that game. So conversation right now being had. It looks like the home plate umpire going to go break up the festivities on the hill, and that'll do it.
Yep, no move, of course, being made, but next visit would prompt one. Takes place in the inning. So 3 balls, no strikes to count to Byrne. Back into his crouch goes McKeithen. Back into the box goes Byrne. Raiselman's 3-0. Fastball at the letters for a called strike.
Yep, good job of battling back there. Obviously, he was going to put something in the zone, and even more obviously, Curtis Byrne wasn't going to offer at it. Now the real battle begins.
Working quickly, the 3-1 at the knees for strike 2.
And Byrne, similar to, I believe, Will Simpson before him, tossed his bat, started jogging on down to first. He gets called back, and that's always frustrating as a hitter, but it gives you a lot of confidence if you're Eric Raiselman out there on the hill looking to get one more strike and retire the side again.
Raiselman looking for his third 1-2-3 inning of his outing. From the windup, the payoff pitch. Fastball in there, called strike 3, and Byrne once again took a couple of steps down to first, and he is rung up to end the inning. Strikeout number 9 for Eric Raiselman through 5 innings. And the first base coach for the Whitecaps having a couple of words with the home plate umpire. He's not happy. Regardless, we are scoreless through 5 innings from Stony Brook Field. Harwich nothing, Brewster nothing. You're listening here on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Top of the 6th inning from Brewster, where the Whitecaps and Harwich Mariners are in a pitcher's duel. No score after 5 innings. Hunter Owen back out for the Whitecaps, coming off of a scoreless two-thirds of an inning, relieving Mason Barnett, who went 4 1/3 innings. Book officially closes on him. He'll get the no decision, allowing 3 hits, walking 2, striking out 6. And the big lefty Owen looks to continue what's been outstanding pitching this season from the Whitecaps against the Harwich Mariners.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think Harwich has done a much better job certainly getting good contact. Tatum Levens has 2 of the 4 Mariners hits, but they've gotten guys in scoring position. They had a man on third and second back in the 5th inning. They had a runner on second back in the 3rd inning, and had a runner on second in the 2nd inning as well. So you have to think if Harwich continues putting themselves in these positions, sooner or later something's going to come across. Conversely, on the other side of it, the Whitecaps have gotten just 2 base runners, both on walks. Nobody's advanced past second.
And first pitch to Carter Putz, down and in. Putz 1 for 2.
Yep, and it's Hunter Owen's game for the foreseeable future. You wonder how many innings they're expecting him to come in and pitch, but you never know in a game like this what you might need.
Breaking ball just below the knees.
And there is an arm up and warming already out in that Brewster bullpen.
Owen working from the windup, the 2-0. Fastball high, and the Mariners look to put a runner on base to lead off the inning via a walk for the 2nd straight inning.
Yep, Zach Preisner reached on a walk in the 5th, made it all the way around to 3rd, but back-to-back outs by Kavanaugh and Wilkin ended the inning before he could draw first blood here.
3-0. Fastball right down Main Street, 3-1.
Yep, and an easy take there for Carter Putz, a guy who had a big single back in the 4th inning, looking to get the Mariners on the base pass here with 0 outs.
3-1 is stung out towards center field, but it will hang up plenty for Spencer Jones. Takes about 5 steps to his left, makes a catch. 1 away, top of the 6th.
Yep, quick one there. And now Jordan Beck comes to the plate, a strikeout and a walk. And if you're a believer in the 3 true outcomes of baseball, well, he could do the 3rd if he could find a way to put one over the fence. But again, just trying to get the Mariners on the path right now with 1 away. And Harwich has only had a runner aboard here with nobody out once in this ballgame.
Just looking for the Adam Dunn special. He's able to add a home run. First pitch to Beck is waved at and missed for a strike.
I don't know if you've seen the SB Nation video on Adam
Oh,
Dunn.
yeah.
Had one of the strangest careers of
Really?
any baseball player in existence.
Yeah, one of the crazier careers for sure. One of the most intimidating power bats the game has ever seen. So the 0-1 misses up and away.
I believe he still holds one of the 5 longest hit home runs in MLB history.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was at Great American Ballpark.
Yep.
He hit it over the batter's eye in center. Went over literally everything. It almost vanished. The 1-1 to Beck. That one misses in the dirt.
And the one advantage you have here with a new pitcher coming into the game for the Whitecaps, you know, obviously these Mariners bats have not faced Hunter Owen, but sometimes we do see guys out of the bullpen. They're not in quite as much of a rhythm, especially here early in their outing, and this is a chance for Harwich to really get out there and attack the new guy if they can.
Beck showing some patience. The 2-1. Fastball up and away. Wind starting to pick up a little bit here in Brewster. Been a steady breeze all game. Owens 3-1. Chopped foul off to the 3rd base line. Here in Brewster, very similar to a couple other fields such as Red Wilson and Gov Fuller. There's an unprotected area down the 3rd base line where fans can really sit, and it's not a whole lot of netting, fencing, nothing really there. So anything that gets hit in their direction, they'll have an opportunity to make a play on. The payoff pitch, foul tip held on to strike 3, and Beck goes down swinging for the 2nd straight at-bat. There are now 2 outs in the top of the 6th.
Yep, first strikeout of the outing here for Hunter Owen, and I mentioned coming into the game, you never know whether a guy's going to settle in quickly or not, but he's looked good so far here as Ben Malgeri comes to the plate. Colin, I know I've had disagreements with people about this in the past, specifically my dad, about whether or not the netting should have been extended at the major league level. I'm actually in support of it, and it's very surprising for me to see an unprotected area like that, not just here at Stony Brook, but at a couple of different ballparks. It can be really dangerous, especially in a league where you have a lot more kind of casual fans that are just here as tourists, not necessarily as baseball fans on their phones, maybe not paying attention to the ball game.
A 1 hits Malgeri right off the shin pad. And that's why you wear him. He takes it off, lofts it over towards the dugout, and trots down to first base. A hit by pitch and a 2-out base runner for the Mariners.
Yep, and that'll bring up Aaron McKeithen. Harwich has not had a lot of base runners on today, but when they have, it seems like they've almost always had Aaron McKeithen at the plate at some point or another. He had Ben Malgeri on first and Carter Putz on second back in the 4th inning. Also had Jordan Beck on second back in the 2nd inning. Trying to break out of a bit of a slump here for Aaron McKeithen.
Owen's first pitch, big cut. Keithan comes up empty, 0-1. And about the netting, I was one of those people that early on, granted it was a few years ago, so I figured, I mean, if you're sitting down the line, as long as you're paying attention, you should be okay to get out of the way. But you don't realize how hard some of these baseballs are leaving the bats, especially at the major league level, as Owen throws over to first. Even someone with really good reflexes still might not be able to get out of the way, and the consequences are very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a baseball, which is obviously just a very hard, solid object rocketing through the air upwards of 90 miles an hour right at you. I mean, even if you played baseball prior, it's not going to be easy to stop that. As this one misses the zone, count goes to 1-1. So, you know, again, it's just something you do to make sure that everybody is safe and everybody can enjoy the ball game. And I think we've all seen our fair share of tragedies that have happened at the major league level at some of these parks. You do what you can to protect the fans.
The 1-1, runner going, swing and a miss. The throw down is in time. Great throw by Byrne, the tag applied by Neto, and the inning is over as Ben Malgeri is caught stealing. We head to the home half of the 6th, still scoreless from Stony Brook Field. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Back here at Stony Brook Field. Day is done for Eric Raiselman, but what a day it was. 5 innings, 0 hits allowed, no runs, 2 walks. He struck out 9. Just an outstanding first start with the Harwich Mariners for Raiselman. And he will be replaced by Spencer Geesting, who comes in from the University of North Carolina in Charlotte. Geesting so far 2 appearances this year, including a start. He's gone 6 innings. Given up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, walked 6, and struck out 5. So a big moment for Geesting, who looks to kind of improve on those numbers in Brewster in such a high-leverage situation, a scoreless ball game in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, and there's always a lot of pressure, but it's also interesting because Geesting is now going to be the guy trying to pick up a really good day by Eric Raiselman. The other time that we saw Spencer Geesting, it was the other way around. Geesting made the start. He went 3 1/3, gave up no runs on 3 hits, struck out 4, and walked 2. And then Eric Raiselman came in and made his debut and picked him up in what would ultimately be a 5-3 victory for Harwich over the Wareham Gatemen. So the roles are reversed here, but we've seen these two guys work well in tandem, and it'll be Spencer Geesting's game going forward. He will face off, as you mentioned, against the 9-1 and 2 hitters in a Brewster lineup that still has a lot of questions to be answered at this point in this game.
Porter Brown will lead things off, the left-handed hitting left fielder. Flew out in the 3rd inning. He digs in to face the left-hander, Geesting. Geesting working from the windup. First pitch is hit to right field and deep. That ball will hit off the wall on the fly. Malgeri picks it up, throws it back in, or Beck rather, but it's too late. A stand-up double for Porter Brown. How about the 9-hole hitter getting the offense going? That's the first hit of the ball game for the Whitecaps, and it's a huge one in a scoreless game.
Yeah, and these next couple of batters are absolutely crucial here. Spencer Giesting needs a bounce back at bat if he can get it here again. You're talking about Eric Raiselman, who went 5 complete innings, didn't give up a single hit, and the first guy who steps up to face the new pitcher, he's standing in scoring position with nobody out for the leadoff hitter in Spencer Jones.
Jones walked, then stole second in the first, struck out looking in the third. Giesting looking into his UNC Charlotte teammate Aaron McKeithen behind the plate. First pitch, fastball in the dirt. McKeithen able to keep it in front of him.
Yep, and Giesting, another one of those guys that the Mariners are still trying to figure out where he fits. He had a start, he had an appearance out of the bullpen earlier this season, and now being used out of the pen. 2 bullpen appearances bookending that 1 start for Giesting.
Giesting a look at Brown off second. The 1-0. Breaking ball fouled off to the backstop.
Of course, the first time Giesting was put into the game in relief of Timmy Manning, it was a bit of a rougher appearance. 2 2/3 out of the pen. Only had 1 hit given up, but he walked 4. He gave up 4 runs. All of them earned just 1 strikeout. So much better in its start than he was in his relief appearance, and hoping to turn the tide here with the runner in scoring position.
1-1 the count. Long pause from Giesting. Now the pitch. Fastball comes in and hits Brown, and he heads down to first base. So it does open up the double play possibility, but there are 2 on and nobody out in the home half of the 6th for the Whitecaps.
And a dangerous part of the lineup, as you mentioned, it'll be the 2-hole hitter, Jake Thompson, then Zach Neto and Will Simpson. Even if you roll 2 here, you've got a runner standing 90 feet away that could break the deadlock here with just 3 innings left to go. So this entire tide could change. This feels like the potential for a big inning for Brewster. Consequently, if the Mariners can get out of it, this could be a really big inning for the momentum swing for the Harwich Mariners. But they have put themselves in a tough spot here.
Quick mound visit as McKeithen goes out to calm his pitcher down. So Porter Brown at second, Spencer Jones at first, and Thompson looking to get back in the right direction. He has struck out in each of his first 2 plate appearances. Bunt showing, and he fouls it straight back, unable to get it down. The runners weren't exactly going. There was a big secondary lead at first by Jones, but Brown in front of him stayed put. I don't know if he might have missed the sign. Regardless, we'll see if sacrifice is still on.
Brandon Walker already up and warming in that Harwich bullpen right now.
The 0-1, he shows bunt again. He gets it down. It's a good one. It dies. McKeithen picks it up. Throw is in time. So a well-executed sacrifice bunt by Jake Thompson. Just like that, the go-ahead run at third, an insurance run at second, and only 1 out for the Whitecaps lineup.
Yeah, that was a dream of a bunt that time laid down by Jake Thompson, and now you've got your 3- and 4-hole hitters with no chance of a double play, 2 runners in scoring position, and Zach Neto strides to the plate here looking to break the deadlock. I'll tell you what, if you're Spencer Giesting, a strikeout here would go a long way.
So Neto, arguably the most dangerous hitter now in this Whitecaps lineup. Fly ball at this point, the runs coming at a premium would be enough. First pitch as the infield comes in, breaking ball, great stop by McKeithen to keep it from going to the backstop.
Of course, that's another thing you can't afford right now. Anything that gets back to the backstop with a chain link fence here. It is a pretty short jog to get to the backstop. You could still make a play, but that ball's not coming back to you in any way, shape, or form with the chain link fence.
Grass is pretty long also behind home plate, so could be tough to get a grip on that one if a ball gets away. Bunt being shown again, pulled back at the last second by Neto, so it'll be 2-0.
Yeah, you don't usually see the safety squeeze here in the CCBL. Rare to see a guy square around the bunt to try to bring the run in from third, but that appears to be the strategy, at least on that instance for Neto. Also interesting, though, you're talking about a guy that is really good when he's swinging away, and you have him squaring around the bunt. So we'll see if they do it again here.
Did see the squeeze play against Harwich earlier in the year. Kelly Nicholson for the Firebirds ran it at Eldridge Park and ran it to perfection, led to a 2-1 victory, as they're just going to go ahead and put on Zach Neto. So an interesting decision with one away. That opens the double play up once again, but it brings up the cleanup bat and Will Simpson.
And I don't necessarily hate that. Yes, you do put another runner on base, but having that double play possibility is huge. So you'll likely see the middle infielders go to double play depth and see if the corners come in here trying to cut the run down at home. But I like the strategy here from Steve Engler. You give yourself a chance to get out of this with one ground ball.
Simpson up. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. First pitch swinging, and it's a high pop-up into shallow center field. Malgeri coming in. He will make the catch. Runner tags. Brown coming home. The throw from Malgeri. The tag. Safe! Porter Brown able to dive past the tag of Aaron McKeithen. And just like that, Brewster is on the board 1-0, despite a great throw from center once again by Ben Malgeri.
And that was very close at the plate. Engler's going to come out and argue this, but we had a pretty good front row seat for this one. He looked like he did get his hand in there just before the tag was applied. That's very frustrating in a game like this, but you know, as much as I hate to say it, I do have to agree with the call behind home, and that is going to be the only run of the game scored between these two teams so far. Porter Brown comes across to score, 2 away, and now, Colin, you have runners on second and third for a pinch hitter. As coming in now for the Whitecaps, it looks like this will be Sean Gusenberg.
So Gusenberg at the plate. He replaces Freeland, who was 0 for 2. Big RBI chance still out there with Jones at third and Neto at second. And they're going to go actually appeal, claiming that Brown might have left early. Certainly didn't look like that. I think he got a great jump on the ball, hit out to Malgeri.
Not a terrible idea there, but ultimately it won't net Harwich anything on this instance.
First pitch to Gusenberg is on the outside corner, strike 1.
And this is still big for the Mariners. Again, second and third here for the Whitecaps. You have to find a way to get this out and get it quickly. You don't want this inning to continue. You certainly don't want to give Brewster a chance to break it wide open here. Harwich almost got exactly what they wanted with the intentional walk.
Breaking ball from Giesting, the 0-1, the appeal. They said he didn't go.
That one a little bit closer as McKeithen's going to trot out and have a word with his battering mate about what to bring home here. Again, still a dangerous part of the order due up. Sean Gusenberg was involved in that first game against Harwich earlier this season, the only meeting between these two here in 2021, and he reached base in all 4 of his at-bats, including an RBI double back in the 5th inning.
1-1 the count. Giesting will step off and regroup. Just 1 hit for the Whitecaps, but they lead it 1-0 over Harwich, who has 4. Breaking ball from Giesting, another stop by McKeithen, who's been getting pounded back there. The couple of balls in the dirt he's had to stop, plus the close play at the plate with Parker Brown bearing down on him and just beating the tag.
Yeah, and again, that was awfully close. It was an amazing throw right on a line from Ben Malgeri in center, but just not quite in time to get a speedster in Porter Brown.
2-1. Strike called. It's now 2-2.
That's a big strike. And again, a good bounce back pitch there. Misses one in the dirt, comes back, gets a strike, evens the count, and now an opportunity to try to put him away and get out of this inning. This game is still well within reach for Harwich. Just a 1-run ball game. And right now, one swing of the bat by anybody could even it up.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 in scoring position. The pitch, fastball just missing down and in. Giesting thought he had strike 3.
Yeah, Giesting that time bringing the fastball, as you mentioned, tried to get him to chase at something around the knees, and now we'll have to bring this next pitch into the zone here.
Trey Faltine waiting on deck. Giesting's payoff pitch. Hit in the air down the right field line. That will slice foul out of play over the Mariners' bullpen, which again, Brendan Walker was up warming. Tough to tell from here if he still is.
It looks like he is still playing catch with somebody else out there. A number of arms potentially getting ready for a future appearance here for Harwich.
So we'll see if the Florida State righty does get an appearance. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Another payoff. Breaking ball misses high, ball 4. And the bases will be loaded once again, this time for Trey Faltine.
And Faltine, one of those guys that's due for a big hit. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. So this could be big. Really quickly getting back into what Giesting throws. Fastball, changeup, slider. And he has just been missing with some of his off-speed pitches. He's had the fastball more or less where he wants it. It's been the off-speed that he has just been unable to locate with. And still an opportunity for the Whitecaps to break this thing wide open. It'd be huge for Giesting's confidence and for the state of the Mariners in this game. They could find a way to get out of this with just the 1 run given up.
Left-hander's first pitch. Flared foul off to the right.
Hit that one just behind the Harwich dugout. But again, every foul tip is a benefit here to a guy like Giesting looking to get out of this inning.
Sun is peaked behind overcast skies here in Brewster. Kind of metaphorical to how this game has gone for Harwich as things really turning around for the worse in this bottom of the 6th inning. Fastball misses down and in, count even 1-1.
I mean, important to note, though, that while we've seen a number of base runners on here, and including the bases loaded right now, the damage has still been kept to a minimum for now. Obviously, Giesting, it's do or die time with 2 outs and the bases loaded. He has to get this next out, but so far only 1 run has come across the score here for the Whitecaps. So the Mariners have a chance to salvage this.
1-1 breaking ball misses high.
And once again, just unable to locate the off speed. That's been killing him throughout this game.
Faltine out of the University of Texas. Another team that made a deep run in Omaha. 2-1, fastball up and away. With nowhere to put him. Giesting's got to come home with a strike here. Deep sigh from Faltine. Steps back in. Twirling the bat. He awaits the 3-1. Fastball hit hard on the ground, foul just past his teammate Spencer Jones, who had to leap out of the way.
And that could have been bad if that was down on the fair side of things, although it likely would have been picked up by Wilkin. Just an update from the bullpen. Bo Keithley and Brandon Walker both up and warming in that Harwich pen if needed.
So the count is now full with 2 down. All 3 runners will get a head start. Trey Faltine looking to shake an 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts in a big spot in the home half of the 6th with 1 already in for Brewster. Pitch from Giesting. Breaking ball, strike 3. Got him with the hook and a huge strikeout to get out of the jam for Spencer Giesting and the Harwich Mariners. However, Brewster picks up a run on a sacrifice fly. We head to the 7th, 1-0 Whitecaps. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
5 base runners, 1 run, 1 K.
Able to limit the damage. Top of the 7th inning from Brewster, where the Whitecaps own a 1-0 lead over the visiting Harwich Mariners. And now, for the next final 3 innings of play-by-play, the world's biggest Arizona Wildcats fan, Tyler Henry.
I don't even have a response for that one.
I knew you'd enjoy that one.
I don't even know what to say. I will, however, talk about this. So this game's still well within reach for Harwich. That inning feels like a punch to the gut, but then you look at the scoreboard, Colin, it's just a one-run ball game. And you think about it from this perspective, too. You pick up some momentum. Brewster stranded, the bases loaded. They had an opportunity to bust this game wide open. They did not capitalize. So if you're Harwich, you've got an opportunity to bounce back. Only one run is needed to try to find a way back into this game, and it'll be the bottom three in the order due up next to try to do that. Aaron McKeithen, Zach Preisner, and Hal Hughes, your three due up for the M's here. And Colin, the Mariners, again, still very much within striking distance as they come out to face Hunter Owen for another inning.
They are, and you have to give a lot of credit to Spencer Geesting, who, despite having a rough inning, only gave up the one run, and it came on a play where he was able to record an out. And, of course, he got that big strikeout to end the inning. First
pitch to McKeithen, misses up and away here. McKeithen, of course, standing at the plate when Ben Malgieri is picked off trying to swipe second. And, you know, so far, two runners have reached base on Hunter Owen. A single by Tatum Levens, a hit by pitch of Ben Malgieri. This one misses in the dirt. Count goes to 2-0, but you just feel like Harwich still has one more big push in them here in this game. And notably, these are the kinds of games that Harwich was not winning earlier this year that they have been winning recently. So, you know, they've found a way to fight back from adversity. That's not something that's been in question as McKeithen takes ball 3 up above his head, and it's a 3-0 count here. It was a long half inning, Colin, and Hunter Owen, sitting on the bench for all of it, is going to have to warm himself back up here.
Yeah, that's a great point. Long innings can be a real detriment to a pitcher. You sit for a while, kind of lose that looseness in your arm, and we've seen that early in this one.
Next pitch is just on the inside part of the plate. Count goes to 3-1 here on McKeithen, who is over 2 today, a flyout and a strikeout. But this is his first time facing the new pitcher into the game in Hunter Owen, who rocks into the windup and brings home the pitch, and McKeithen will take this high in the air, drifting out into foul territory, and I believe running out of room. Yep, as we see the ball drop. That is the one unique thing about being on the road. Typically we have a pretty good angle of the field, but when you get into foul territory, it can be tough. You kind of lose it behind the dugout.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of foul territory down both foul lines, but it's tough to gauge when you have these open face seating down there. It comes up on you quick.
Payoff pitch misses up and in, and for the second time today, Colin, the leadoff man aboard here for the Harwich Mariners.
And you'll take base runners any way you can get them in a 1-0 game. Great job by McKeithen. Another lengthy at-bat. Drawing the walk, and we'll see what the Mariners can do with the leadoff man on. And looks like the Whitecaps making a couple of defensive changes following Sean Goosenberg appearing as a pinch hitter in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Yep, it looks like Zach Neto slides over to third base. Faltine slides over to second, and Goosenberg takes over at second. And we're going to have a meeting on the mound here. See if this turns into a pitching change, and it looks like it will. And for the second time today, Colin, the second base umpire is the guy signaling to the bullpen here for the Brewster Whitecaps. I've never seen this before in my life, and now we've seen it twice. Very odd here, as the second base umpire also apparently the messenger boy for the head coach of the Brewster Whitecaps. So we'll step away. When we come back, we'll get you an update on the new pitcher into the game. Brewster goes to the bullpen here in the 7th on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey, an important inning of work here for the Harwich Mariners bats. And a new pitcher coming into the game. It'll be Griffin Green from Virginia Tech. He has had a solid start to his CCBL season through 3 appearances, 5 1/3, and a 1.69 ERA, 4 strikeouts, only 2 walks, and he has allowed just 1 earned run so far on 4 hits this season. He has been a tough guy to get on base against, and Harwich once again going to have to face a new guy. Very short leash on both of the previous 2 pitchers. And with 1 walk, Hunter Owen pulled from this game.
Yeah, you mentioned Green, who's been outstanding so far this year. Local guy from Chelmsford, Mass. Really strong start to this year, and they trust him in a situation like this, tying run on base for the Mariners. Question now is, will the Mariners have the same approach that Brewster had trying to manufacture that 1 run? Or will we see them swing away like we have been so far in this game? Really tough decision if you're Steve Engler, but I wouldn't be surprised if Preisner might try to lay one down and put a runner in scoring position for the 9-hitter Hal Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have both seen over the years, Coach Engler definitely not opposed to playing a little bit of small ball, and you've got a good spot in the lineup up to do that. Zach Preisner due up now, Hal Hughes standing in the on-deck circle, Aaron McKeithen with the walk standing on first, and we'll get our first look here at Griffin Green. The right-hander comes set, working out of the stretch here with a runner on base. He will bring home the first pitch, and that will miss low. Count starts off at 1-0 here on Preisner, who did not square to bunt, but the corners are still in. Trying to prevent that bunt from moving that runner into scoring position. Again, this is still a very close game. Brewster had a big 6th inning, but it only netted them 1 run. The 1-0. In there for a called strike. Count goes now to 1-1.
Bat still on the shoulder for Preisner, so have to assume at this point he might just try to keep the line moving and swinging away. I mean, we know he's capable of coming up with big hits, and see if he can do it with that tying run still at first.
Yesterday's victory, one of the first times we saw Preisner's bat absent from the lineup as he takes strike 2. It was kind of a rough stretch for him before that. In that win over YD, he was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Game before that, however, he was 2 for 4 with a pair of singles. So looking to be more on that side of things here. And again, anything he can do to try to get that runner over to second would be hugely beneficial to the M's. The 1-2. Misses down and away, gets by the catcher. Runner takes off for second. There will be a throw. It won't be in time. And even if it was, it gets by the glove of Faltine at second. They appealed down to the first base umpire to see if he swung. He did not. So the count is 2-2, and Harwich has the tying run in scoring position here, Colin, with nobody out.
And that was a little strange because it looked like a delayed steal by McKeithen, like he took off as the pitch was being delivered, and I think it might have made the difference because he slowed up coming into second, throw was skipped in, so he was able to get him to slide. But for a catcher, McKeithen has got some really great base running IQ, and he showed it off right there.
Yeah, it looked like he almost waited until the ball got away from Byrne, and that's why it was almost a little bit closer down at second. But nonetheless, he is in scoring position, a massive opportunity here. Pitch on the way, that'll miss outside, and it's a full count here to Zach Preisner. 3-2, nobody out. Top of the 7th, tying run on second base. Again, Hal Hughes, the man due up next. Keeping a watchful eye on this at-bat by Zach Preisner. Preisner stands in from the right side. Product out of Notre Dame, playing short today for the Harwich Mariners. So far today, 0 for 1 with a walk. Check back to second, the payoff pitch. Big swing and a miss. Preisner down swinging. And that is the first strikeout of the day here for Griffin Green. He'll turn his attention now to Hal Hughes.
Yeah, big first out. I think Preisner might have chased ball 4 there. That pitch looked like it might have been a few inches off the plate outside, but now it's up to Hughes. Huge opportunity. He's had some big hits lately. Had the home run against YD at home a couple of nights ago. Single could be good enough here depending on where it's hit. At the very least, got to get on base and start setting the table for the top of the lineup coming up.
I was going to say, finding a way to get on would be good. Finding a way to get on that moves the runner over would be even better. If you're the Mariners, you want that runner 90 feet away with 1 out if you can get that situation as Hughes digs in to face Griffin Green for the first time. First pitch, swung on, fouled away. Back to the concession stand here. And again, this is a huge opportunity for the Harwich Mariners. They battled their way back twice yesterday against the Chatham Anglers in a really good team victory. They went down 4-3, came back and took the lead. And then, of course, went down again later in that game. And then a 3-run seventh got them the lead for the second time. They brought in the back end of the bullpen and hung on for their second consecutive victory. The 0-1. Misses low. Good eye there by Hal Hughes. And that's the other thing. Again, Harwich still looking for their first winning streak. And Colin, you and I saw in 2019, when this team, or when any team in the CCBL finds a way to get hot, sometimes it can be tough to slow down a team that is feeling themselves with that many top guys from around the country. I mean, just look what the Bourne Braves are doing right now at 11-1-3.
Falmouth did to close the 2019 regular season.
1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes the pitch. And this one swung on back up the middle. Chance to get through. It won't. It's stopped by the second baseman. Throw from Goosenberg on to first in time, but the tying run moves up 90 feet. Aaron McKeith into third base, and here comes the 2-for-3 Tatum Levens.
At the very least, it was a productive second out and a great opportunity for arguably your team's best contact hitter, which is all you need right now, base hit, and this game is tied. So Hughes just missed finding a hole there, but at the very least puts the Mariners in another opportunity, a golden chance to knot the game up.
Yep, Tatum Levens 2-for-3 today, hitting .297 on the season. Of course, we all remember that big home run that he had, 5 RBIs to his name. A 6th here would be the biggest of his 2021 campaign. Here comes the first pitch to him, and he is swinging. Pops this high in the air. This will stay on the infield. Settling under it is the third baseman. Drifting over is Neto, and he makes the catch. And just like that, Brewster out of the woods. And that will take us to the home half of the 7th inning. Still a 1-0 lead for the Whitecaps. You're watching or listening here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we get set to resume action here in the 7th inning of play. Brewster Whitecaps coming to the plate here. Bottom 3 in the lineup, Mac Bingham, Curtis Byrne, and Porter Brown. But the interesting thing here is another inning of work being granted to Spencer Giesting, who really did labor in that 7th inning. But, you know, obviously a lot of confidence being placed in his abilities as he's brought back out for another inning of work here.
Yeah, a lot of confidence being put in him. And to his credit, gave up that run. It was a rough start to the inning, but he found his way towards the end. Nearly had a huge out by a play of inches on that play at the plate that led to the 1 run. Showed a lot of confidence getting out of the inning. Got out of the bases loaded, 2-out jam with a strikeout of his own. See what he can do here with a fresh inning and take some momentum from that strong bottom of the 6th.
First pitch to Mac Bingham will miss outside of the zone here. Of course, if you're Harwich, the name of the game right now has to be keeping this deficit to 1. And it's also crushing when you look at the scoreboard. This is a game that Brewster leads at 1-0. They do not have a home run. They only have 1 hit in this game.
And that hit belonged to the guy who scored the only run, Porter Brown, the leadoff double.
So we'll see if Brewster can try to tack a few more on here. Giesting's next pitch misses in the dirt. Count goes to 2-1 on Mac Bingham, who has 0 for 2, a fly out and a ground out. This part of the order has not had a ton of success, although the 9-hole hitter and Porter Brown is the only man to score a run today as Giesting misses again. Count goes to 3-1.
He certainly earned that run. He had to time that jump perfectly, close play. Really great head-first slide to get around the tag of McKeithen.
3-1, swung on, and that would have been ball 4, but instead it turns into a foul ball and strike 2 as Mac Bingham will put this one back towards the Whitecap dugout. 3-2 the count, and a chance for Giesting to get back on the right side of things here. Payoff pitch. That misses up. It's going to be a walk issued here by Spencer Giesting to start the inning, and here comes Curtis Byrne, who's over 2 with a pair of strikeouts.
Yeah, losing a batter there. It's never good to put yourself in that situation, putting a guy on base, especially after the leadoff double last inning. So Spencer's not exactly doing himself any favors in these first couple of innings, but we'll see if he can battle out of it once again.
Does want to do that against the bottom 3 guys in the order. Curtis Byrne again coming to the plate here, 0 for 2, pair of Ks. And still just the 1 hit up on the board right now for Brewster. Giesting working out of the stretch here. Southpaw kicks and fires. Runner goes, hit and run. This ball hit high in the air. Tracking it back right now is Ben Malgiri to the fence, makes the catch, turns and fires a strike to first, but unfortunately it chases Carter Putz just far enough off the bag that they're unable to double up Mac Bingham. But how about the arm? Once again on full display by Ben Malgiri.
That arm's certainly been getting the attention of some scouts out here over the last couple of days. He had a huge outfield assist that cut down a Chatham rally to end that inning. It was the top of the 4th inning yesterday. Here he makes a really nice running catch out in right center field and nearly able to double off Bingham, who was all the way past second base. He was certain that ball was getting down. Great job, though, on his part of getting back in time.
Yep, a little aggressive on the hit and run, but the speed of the aforementioned Mac Bingham, who again is an outfielder, able to work to his advantage. Those have been kind of the 2 breaks that we've seen so far in this game, Colin. The corner infielders have had the biggest, or the corner outfielders rather, have had the biggest impact on this game. Porter Brown and Mac Bingham both have a big play both at the plate and in the field in a 1-0 ball game where the slimmest of margins can make the difference. And Porter Brown, the left fielder, at the plate right now, facing a 2-0 count. Of course, he doubled off of Giesting to start his outing back in the 6th. Now facing him here is the 3rd hitter in the 7th. Quick pickoff move over to first, checks the runner, and the count stays where it is.
MLB draft, I believe, is underway. Who was taken first overall? Well, we don't know at this point, as I'm trying to get it on my laptop, but the internet not cooperating.
That good old Stony Brook Wi-Fi. 2-0 pitch on the way. This one will miss, down and away. And the count now 3-0. So Porter Brown likely going to leave the bat on the shoulder for this next pitch. Giesting needs to make sure it's across for a strike to try to battle his way back in. And once again, Colin, something about Stony Brook. Harwich has now played in 16 innings here. No runs here in 2021. Giesting sets, checks the runner, brings home the pitch, and that is off the plate. A 4-pitch walk to Porter Brown, puts runners on first and second, 1 away for the leadoff man, Spencer Jones.
And we'll see. Looks like Giesting's going to stay out there. I mean, they have the matchup there, lefty. This is a lefty-heavy lineup for sure. But Giesting struggling a little bit with control throughout this one, and the hope is that he can reel it in this time before it's too late. I mean, he was able to get out of the inning with just 1 run given up last time, but right now, you got to keep it a 1-0 game so your offense can have a shot at getting back in it.
Spencer Jones trying to make sure that doesn't happen. He swings at the first pitch he sees and drives it hard, deep out to left field, tracking it back to the fence, to the wall, and it is gone. 3-run home run by Spencer Jones, and that'll break the game wide open. Brewster going to take a 4-0 lead here on the Harwich Mariners.
Well, I mentioned that Jones actually made his debut against the Mariners a week ago today and hadn't really been having a hot start to his Cape League season at the plate. That changed with 1 swing. Great opposite field power, just going the other way with that one. Prez Kavanaugh looked like he had a read on that one. He just simply ran out of room.
Yep, that ball did not clear the fence by much, but it did just enough to tuck over. Similar to what we saw on the big home run for Harwich yesterday at Chatham.
And so, as we head into,
Yep, as we continue on in this one, Jake Thompson, the DH at the plate, empty base paths. And Colin, really, really unfortunate for a lot of reasons here for Harwich if they can't find a way to come back in this one. But one of the toughest is another great start, this time by Eric Raiselman, could potentially be all for naught as this ball is rocketed out into center field. That's going to get down in front of Algieri, and Jake Thompson keeping the rally going here with one out for the Whitecaps.
if it's any consolation to Raiselman, he was on a no decision from the get-go with it being scoreless after 5 innings. But still, yeah, it's tough for a game to kind of get out of hand like that just so quickly, especially with the Mariners holding them hitless, holding the Whitecaps hitless for the first 5 innings, and all of a sudden wheels just starting to come off here in this 7th inning.
Just something really weird about that so far this season for the Harwich Mariners. It seems like some of their best outings have all resulted in losses when you're talking about the starting pitcher. Of course, 2 games that resulted in a loss for Evan Shaver earlier this year as Giesting misses with this one. Count goes to 1-0.
Well, some news that all 10 Cape League teams can agree upon being a good thing. Cape Leaguer has gone first overall once again. First pick of the 2021 MLB Amateur Draft. Henry Davis, former Bourne Braves catcher, getting that first overall selection, count even 1-1.
Yep, and how much will this draft change the landscape of the CCBL this season? Talking about a lot of teams that are still holding on to guys that are draft eligible. If their names are called, we could see a lot of departures from the CCBL. We're certainly anticipating a lot of shifts in these teams, and it's part of the reason why these early season games are so important as Giesting misses up and in to make the count 2-1 here.
I think the next question now would be, where do Spencer Jones' teammates Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker go? A couple of Vanderbilt aces. Jack Leiter heavily linked to the Red Sox at number 4. The question is, will he be available for them?
It's a question we'll have an answer to sooner rather than later. There's a lot of anticipation, a lot of mock drafts, and you know, it's not as clear-cut as, say, the NFL or NBA draft. The MLB draft really can be a toss-up. You know which guys are going to be taken usually in that top 15, but you have no idea what order those guys might be taken in. Right now, Zach Neto working with a 2-2 count. Spencer Giesting trying to put him away for the second out of the inning. From the stretch, brings home the pitch, misses the fastball high, and it's a full count worked here by Neto. Neto was intentionally walked back in that 6th inning and did not come around to score. Looked like a pretty solid situation for the Mariners after the Whitecaps stranded the bases loaded, but one swing of the bat by Spencer Jones changed all of that as we've got a quick move over to first. That'll keep Jake Thompson close. So 3-2, the count right now on Zach Neto. Giesting sets, runner goes, payoff pitch in the dirt, ball 4, it won't matter. And you wonder how much longer this will continue here. As again, the Mariners did have 2 arms up and warming out in the bullpen, and wonder how long the leash really is here for Giesting.
Yeah, it just hasn't been his afternoon. It happens. Comes into the game, gives up the 1 run, able to get out of it. You thought that might be able to turn the momentum around, and Whitecaps bats just getting so much from that 1 run. Spencer Jones responding with a 3-run home run, just really breaking this game open. And for Giesting, he's just kind of been struggling with his command ever since.
Yeah, for the second time today, he'll go out and have a talk with Giesting. Will Coach Steve Gruenberg. And yeah, I mean, I think the one big thing for Giesting, and again, I mean, it's too early in the season to call it a trend, but he has struggled in both of his appearances out of the bullpen. He was electric in that start that he had. 3 1/3, no runs, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, only 2 walks. But the relief appearances have not been friendly to Spencer Giesting this season.
Yeah, you wonder if it's kind of a comfort type thing coming out of the bullpen. Maybe he feels a lot better about starting those games, getting that, the knowing of being out there to start the game, knowing exactly what you're asked of doing instead of the variability of coming out of the bullpen. Whatever the case may be, it's definitely something he's going to try to work on for his next appearance, whether it be as a starter or a relief pitcher.
Brewster Whitecaps right now trying to increase their lead over the rest of the Eastern Division. They've got a good chance to potentially pad on some more runs. Runners on first and second. Keithan comes up here, pitches high. Count starts off at 1-0 here. So Giesting will settle in here. Again, facing off against Will Simpson, who had the RBI sac fly in the 6th inning to center to get the Brewster Whitecaps on the board. A lot of movement right now by the runners, as this is in their first strike. Count goes to 1-1. We haven't really seen Giesting able to work as far ahead in counts as what we have previously.
Well, the pick is in for the Rangers. Jack Leiter going second overall.
Great pick there by the Rangers, and again, the unpredictability of the draft, and it's going to be like that over the next couple of days.
Not going to lie to you, Tyler, I'm not happy as a Red Sox fan.
I kind of figured. That was the reaction that I saw off to my right, but plenty of good talent still going to be on the board here for Boston, but when you're talking about a transcendent talent like Jack Leiter, not a guy you want to miss out on. The 2-1 in there for a strike count, even at 2-2. Will Simpson again right now trying to give his team an even bigger lead. Brewster's broken it open here in their half of the 7th, and Harwich on the other side of that going to be down to their final 6 outs as they try to salvage at least a tie here, if not a come-from-behind victory. If they do come from behind, though, Colin, this could be the biggest statement game of the Mariners' 2019 or 2021 season. As a breaking ball misses high, count goes full.
Another full count. We've seen a lot of them since Giesting's been on the mound, so it's not like there's been a lot of 4-pitch walks where he has had a couple, but just a lot of these lengthy at-bats.
Payoff pitch swung on and lifted high in the air. This will stay in the yard as Malgiri settles under it in straightaway center and makes the catch for out number 2.
Good job challenging him there, going with a high fastball. Not surprised to see Simpson swinging away with a 4-run lead and 2 on, 1 away, trying to really put some damage up in this inning, and much needed out to kind of calm the nerves down of Giesting and see if he can get out of this inning with just the 3 runs allowed.
Yep, and that'll bring up Sean Gusenberg, getting his 2nd plate appearance today. Reached on a walk back in the 6th inning. It was all for naught as Trey Faulting was struck out to end the inning. Correction, 0 strikeouts on the day so far for 1 strikeout for Spencer Giesting. 1-0 the count right now on Sean Gusenberg. Settles in again from the right side. Runners on first and second. They've been there for quite a while with some lengthy pitch counts. Here comes the pitch. And this one swung on, similar to what we saw just a pitch ago. This one stays on the front side of the outfield grass. It'll be gloved by Hal Hughes, and that is the 3rd out of the inning, but not before a 3-run shot by Spencer Jones puts the Whitecaps on top, 4-0. We'll step away when we come back. Harwich down to their final 6 outs, backs against the wall. For Press Kavanaugh, Brock Wilkin, and Carter Putz here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey. Time starting to become a factor here. Typically the beauty of baseball, Colin, there is no timer, there is no clock, but there is a bit of a limit here at Stony Brook Field. Conditions starting to darken up just a bit. You wonder whether we're going to get to play through this one in regulation, and with the Mariners down by 4, if they do come back, you get the feeling this needs to be a big, big inning here for the M's.
Yeah, we're approaching 7:30 here in Brewster, which normally 8th inning you're in good shape, but the skies have darkened a ton, and it's not like threatening weather, but just completely overcast skies. That means it's going to get darker even quicker than normal.
Yep, we mentioned just a couple of innings ago, it seemed like plenty of daylight to get through this one. Now, that is not quite the case. First pitch taken for a strike here by Press Kavanaugh, and here is the situation for the Harwich Mariners. They trail it 4-0 after the 3-run home run by Spencer Jones, but they have the best part of the order due up here. As Kavanaugh will watch this one low for a ball. That'll even the count at 1-1. Press Kavanaugh, Brock Wilkin, Carter Putz, Jordan Beck, Ben Malgeri, Aaron McKeithen. Those are the 6 guys guaranteed at least one more at bat here for the Harwich Mariners. If they can string some runs together, we've seen them come back in situations like this, but it is going to be a steep uphill climb after that 3-run inning by the Whitecaps as Press Kavanaugh fouls this one away and the count goes to 1-2.
Yep, just going to need to take it one batter at a time. Put some guys on base. You have the heart of the lineup due up after Kavanaugh, so set the table.
This ball swung on and chopped weakly down the first base line, but it goes to the right side of it, and that is convenient here for Press Kavanaugh, who would have been out easily, but Simpson kind of took a sweet time getting to that baseball. It drifted into foul territory, and that's going to allow the Mariners to keep the leadoff man alive here with a 1-2 count.
Another opportunity. Ball was rolling right at the bag, so had it been in fair territory, I think Simpson already had his foot on the bag, so it would have just been instant out. So new life here for Kavanaugh. Looking to shake an 0 for 3 after playing probably the best week of baseball he's spent here on the Cape over the last 7 days.
Yeah, he would love to try to set the table here for Brock Wilkin. Those two both 0 for 3 with a strikeout today. From the windup, the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and taken high and deep out to right, but well into foul territory. That ball drifting out into the Mariners bullpen. And you wonder, Colin, we kind of wondered if we'd see Geesting come out to pitch another inning. They bring him back out, and you get the feeling his outing likely done here.
Yeah, certainly looking like they'll go to the pen for the bottom half of this inning.
Another 1-2 to Kavanaugh, and this is well outside. And the count now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You wonder if it'll be a chance for a guy like Brandon Walker, who has had his fair share of issues to start the season, but a good opportunity to kind of get back in the right direction with a clean slate.
Much better recent outings as Kavanaugh sends this high and deep out to straightaway center, back to the track, to the wall, but looking up and making the catch is Jones. Anywhere else in the ballpark, and the Mariners are likely on the scoreboard, but that ball just going to be a loud F8. And here comes Brock Wilkin.
And Jones needed every inch of his height to get back there and make that catch. One of the big benefits of having a tall center fielder. A lot of range, but at the same time, reach up and make some of those plays that most guys can't. That was one of those cases. Didn't even have to jump as he made that catch about 5 feet in front of the fence.
So Wilkin stands in now. Again, the Mariners down to their final 5 outs. First pitch misses off the plate for a ball here. Count goes here to 1-0 on the Mariners slugger standing in right now. Again, great part of the order due up here. Brock Wilkin, Carter Putz, Jordan Beck. The 1-0. And that one will miss as well. So a 2-0 count to start off, and Wilkin going to be working in a good spot here.
It's now moving on to the high schoolers or are we yet actually? 3rd overall to the Tigers, Jackson Jobe.
2-0 pitch, swung on, skied high in the air. This one will stay well in the yard, right behind the second base bag, drifting back and making the catch is Goosenberg, 2 away.
So that would put the Boston Red Sox on the clock. And based on what I've seen out of Mox, Tyler, I would be surprised if they went with anyone other than Marcelo Mayer. I mean, he's been one of the consensus high school prospects, a shortstop, a really good fit as well for that team. And can never go wrong with getting a strong middle infielder that high in the draft, especially with a guy with such upside as Marcelo Mayer.
Yep, and it is interesting, as you mentioned. I mean, these guys, you know, a lot of them won't make it to the major league level for a while. As this ball taken out to right field, a diving stop, but it looked like it bounced. It did not. Right into the glove of Bingham. And for the second time today, Mac Bingham with a SportsCenter top 10 play out in right. That is 3 diving catches by the Whitecaps outfield. And the Mariners fail to score once again here in the 8th. So to the home half we go. Brewster looking for insurance runs, or Colin maybe just a chance to extend this one into the darkness here, trying to ride off into the night with a 3-game winning streak. When we come back, the Whitecaps up to bat here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey. New pitcher coming into the game here for the M's. A guy that threw here last time. It's Bo Keithley. And Keithley, another one of these guys, Colin, that we're expecting to see his name called over the next couple of days. Certainly a draft guy and maybe making his final case here to the few scouts that remain. We do have another pick coming in here. And Colin, your suspicion was correct. The Red Sox draft Marcelo Mayer.
Yeah, a great selection. Hit nearly 400, I believe, out of high school. And a guy, obviously, of Xander Bogaerts now, but positions change. Bogaerts, of course, has some experience as well at third base. You'd think maybe Rafael Devers would also move to the other side of the diamond eventually at first, or perhaps as a DH role. But that's the thing. You mentioned it before the break, Tyler. That's just so – it's at least 3 years down the road until Mayer makes his way to the major leagues. It's a long process in baseball. A lot can happen. And you can afford to go best available because you know how a lot can change in a 3-year span. A lot can change for both the player that was drafted and the current roster that is currently manning the position that the player plays.
Yep, right now.
I said play a lot. I apologize.
All good. Right now, Steve Englert is having a word with the home plate umpire about something. Now he's going to signal to his other umpires. They're going to have a conference here. I don't know what this is about. I didn't quite catch what that was. Maybe? I don't think so. Obviously, I don't think that if there was lightning, Coach Englert would have pointed it out because that would not benefit the Mariners. They need to get through this inning quickly if they're going to have a chance to come up and bat in the 9th. And I kind of took one muff off the headset. The umpire was saying something along the lines of, this is something we usually do, but I don't know what he was referring to. As they get together, Keithley will continue throwing a couple of warm-up pitches, and that'll give us a chance to take an extended look here at what Bo Keithley has on offer, as this is likely going to be the last appearance we see made by Bo Keithley. As again, we are anticipating that his name will be called here. Sidearm submariner, fastball coming in between 88 to 92 and a slider. And the Cincinnati teammate of Evan Shoffer. He's getting plenty of warm-up pitches here. Looks like we're going to call this game. And that is it. So due to darkness, that is going to do it. The Brewster Whitecaps going to come away with the victory here. Final score 4-0. We'll step away. When we come back, we'll wrap it up here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back one last time here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey here to wrap up something that ended very abruptly. Kind of an interesting circumstance because, again, we're looking at it right now. I think there was enough daylight to maybe get through another inning, but apparently not the official ruling here from the umpires, and this one wraps up. Final numbers look like this. The Harwich Mariners fall in this one by a final score of 4-0 for the M's tonight. No runs, 4 hits, no errors, 7 runners left on base. Brewster finishes up with 4 runs, 3 hits, no runs, and 4 runners left on base. The win goes to Hunter Owing. The loss goes to Spencer Geesting, and once again, a phenomenal starting pitching performance. Basically wiped out all for naught, and the M's fall in their first loss in, I believe, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. Again, just can't solve the pitching. That's now 17 innings here at Stony Brook Field that the Mariners unable to get a run across. They've only gotten 6 hits over those innings, so credit to the Whitecaps. Their pitching has been outstanding against the Mariners this season. My one question as you were wrapping that up, does Griffin Green technically get a save because he came in a 3-run ball game and then proceeded to get 2 innings worth? Yeah, won 2 innings, got all 6 outs. I don't know if that counts as a save or not. We'll have to go double-check that after on Point Streak, but a really interesting situation. Didn't look all that dark out, so I was a little surprised they called it abruptly, but you'd figure they wouldn't even get to the top of the 9th inning, especially if it was a big inning for Brewster. So can't really argue with the decision. Mariners look to get back in the win column tomorrow night.
Yep, absolutely, and we will have that game for you against the Chatham Anglers. Of course, weather permitting, some rain supposed to be coming in here, but that'll do it for us. For Tyler Henry, for Colin Casey, for our social media master, Tim Foley, and, of course, our producer today, Chris Cassidy, I want to say thank you to everyone who makes these broadcasts possible. That'll be it for us. Hopefully, we will see you back again tomorrow night when the when the Harwich Mariners travel to take on the Chatham Anglers at Veterans Field here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.